Hello, everyone.
How about that?
It is time for revolutionary change. Welcome. I am Jen Perlman.
Oh, me? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
just here for the ride.
Yeah.
I'm Peter Hager, guys. In case I haven't said my full name in a while. When I go live, I generally just say my first name.
I know, but we're trying to create a new regular opening. I like it when I watch content creators when they have a consistent opening. It's always good.
Well, you look like you got color. Am I imagining
Which is
things?
ridiculous. I am probably, I got so sunburned in Ireland. It's ridiculous.
How was Ireland?
I have so much to say. Well, first of all, I've started
Listen, it's just
conversion.
so much. There's so much negative to talk about. Why don't you talk about something positive to start before we just go into
Yeah. So, for people who do not know, I was gone for 3 weeks. I was in the UK. Yes, Peter did accidentally put the Union Jack and say England, and I know that people got their little panties in a bunch over that, but I was in the UK and in Ireland, and it was amazing. I've started conversion classes. You know what they are? It's day drinking and Gaelic. But I honestly feel like I could totally convert to Irish.
Would you say that it is fortuitous that the very first comment that we get on our official rebrand is from this person?
I love you. I still
Whoever you
think it's
are.
Sam. I still think it's Sam. So
Well,
no,
now I don't have to hold down the fort anymore all by myself.
you seem to have done quite well. I cannot believe like what has happened. And I didn't want to take it personally. I think I even said to you a couple times, maybe it's better if I don't come back.
Well, we're going to find out pretty
We're
soon.
going to find out.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, I've been running around with like my chicken, like a chicken with a head cut off today.
You mean like usual?
No, today, actually, you know what's funny? Maybe it is your voodoo because when you were gone, I was always way on time, always planning way ahead and all that.
Yeah,
But
because you had to.
today was a rough day. But I
Oh
was not.
no.
Let's put it this way: it's almost too good that we're starting an hour late today. And guys, just so you know, and I have an idea because one of the things that we're going to be doing going forward, guys, because obviously this is a rebrand, we're going to do, there'll be some trial and error, but one of the things that Jen, I think you would agree with that we should do is a call-in segment of some kind, where paying members can call in and converse with us and, share their thoughts and sentiments and whatnot. And so one thing that we can say is official now is we will be doing Saturday nights. So count on Saturday being one of the two main nights going forward. And whether we cut Monday or Thursday, or if we don't, what I was thinking is maybe we would set one of those days aside, not to cover stories or do like a traditional show, but to have one of those specifically for, like an hour and a half of just, call-in memberships, if you will. Because I think some people may be getting used to seeing us more, but it's a lot of work.
It's a gamble, and that's always
Yeah.
my fear. So, guys, if you are new, thank you for being here. Please hit the subscribe button. It's one of many ways you can help us. We do have our Patreon. And that's also going to be important because I feel like as we get bigger, we're just only going to draw more attention to ourselves. And we are at the complete behest, right, of Google. So at any time, Google can just say, nah, we don't like that. And then it's all gone. So if you want to support and know that it's independent of that, then we do have a Patreon.
Make sure to smash that like button if you haven't already. The reason we are starting an hour later than usual this evening is because Norman Finkelstein will be here, but he will be with us in the 9 o'clock hour. The reason he'll be with us in the 9 o'clock hour is because he's actually out canvassing in Manhattan right now for Zohran Mamdani to hopefully knock off Andrew Cuomo tomorrow. The last official YouGov poll that came in today in the 7th round has Mamdani winning 52-48 over Cuomo.
I think you know what? And it's not that I know that it'll make that much of a difference in terms of what actually can get done. I don't know enough about that one way or the other. Really, I'm not from that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But what I do know is it'll so get in the craw of the likes of Michael Bloomberg that it just pleases me to no end. Even if I knew nothing else about him. By the way, he's amazing. Like, I think he'd be an amazing mayor. I don't know, but yeah, that would be awesome.
I heard the number is as high as 400,000. I've heard the
Okay,
number
wait,
is.
we're going to get into that. Before we
Okay.
get into any story, I'm going to answer Claire. Claire, I highly recommend Ireland. The only thing is they don't really want us to move there. So, I seriously,
Shocking.
they don't really, shocking. It's very hard for us to actually move there, but highly recommend. Like, highly recommend. And it's so interesting to me. I mean, I don't know how much you want to get into it, but how little the people in the UK and Ireland travel even in that own area. I met so many people. I met on my last night in Dublin, I met a young girl from Belfast, and that was like a big trip for her. She's never left the island. She hasn't even been to all the places in Northern Ireland. Now, to someone who lives in South Florida and drives 12 hours just to get where I want to go in a summer, like at one point, you can drive the entire island of North Ireland and the Republic in like 13 and a half hours. And so the fact that it's very now, and gas is more expensive there, but they've got great trains. So no, I don't understand. And they get holiday, but what they all say is that when they get holiday, they want to go somewhere warm. So I guess yeah. I get
Well,
that.
when you live in a part of the world that tends to be very mild in climate and very rainy and cloudy, I can imagine that.
Sunburn. I
Oh,
had
yeah.
the
Well,
best
listen,
weather. It was so beautiful. It is the greenest place. It's like it's a rainbow of green, just shades of green, like a rainbow of green. It's just, and it's so my vibe. And then there's just random sheep. Thank you, Hollyhorn. Yeah, they have no apex predators there. So in terms of being comfortable hiking by myself, because all they have there, the most apex thing there are foxes.
well, I mean, from what you showed and from what we put up on social media, it does seem like a pretty beautiful place, especially Northern Ireland as well as Edinburgh. Seemed like a really awesome place that you were able to get to.
Yeah, I mean, my little wanted to do London, so we started there. But at the end of the day, I am so not a big city person, and yeah, there's cool things in London, no doubt. Like there's so much. I mean, it's just, I don't like how small it. I feel so like confined in cities. I feel like all the rentals are teeny, and this goes for places like New York too. Like it's just, I'm much more of a out where I had one Airbnb where I literally saw cows from the bedroom window. I went over and introduced myself to them first.
Well, I'm glad that you're back. I'm sure everybody's glad that you're back. Obviously, there's a lot going on right now. If you guys are so inclined, remember we are a small but mighty and growing channel, as I like to say now. Make sure you get over to patreon.com/rev. I almost did it. I didn't do it. I didn't finish it, but I stopped myself. Patreon.com/revolutionary change. For as little as $5 a month, you could become a supporter of our new rebranded small but mighty channel.
And wait, don't forget, we also on there, if somebody wanted to just go on and make a one-time donation, you can do that through our store, and we have that option there.
That's also what we would encourage, because there's only so much that we can prevent. We used to be so thrilled when we would get clips that would eclipse 1,000 views or 2,000 views. And we had the clip that we put out last night that's over 50,000 views now. So we understand that this is a fleeting circumstance. It can flip at any moment. So if anybody is a YouTube member but would consider going over to Patreon, obviously there you would certainly be much safer for sure in terms of.
Or this is what I say. We appreciate support any way it comes, but always be prepared that if Big Brother comes down and says you shall not exist, know that that would be a way you could support us. Like just keep that in mind if you ever see us get X'd.
We are just trying to be cognizant of our situation. The one thing I've been saying since this surge is we are extremely grateful for everybody that's here. One of the reasons I think we have been able to grow and grow successfully is because we have built a organic committed audience, not
Yeah.
just people who are trying to find the latest bit of gossip that's being thrown around today. This is a little bit of an inside joke, but between Jen and I, but Scooby and Shaggy, for example, have put out something that was like ripping on like a really good content creator. And it's like, you guys just don't get it. Like, you don't understand that this is the type of stuff that prevents any type of real growth and real cohesion amongst the ranks that is extremely necessary in these times. Amna's a $10 patron now. How about that? That's awesome.
I know. I know. Well, she's such a good supporter.
Well, all of them were. I mean, as Jen and I have talked about, when she ran against Wasserman Schultz, you know, our experience within the Muslim community was probably the most gratifying part of the entire experience, just getting to meet people that we had never met before.
Going to mosque, going to the service, going through Ramadan, minus the pounds that I gained, but you know, like, it was a great experience. Yeah, I think I gained 5 pounds last Ramadan.
But what we've shared with everybody is that I've always believed that the biggest reason why there's so much hatred towards the Muslim community is because they do not, first of all, obviously they don't believe in Judeo-Christian values, if you will, but they don't embrace the full Western concept that money is everything.
I think people don't even know that. I think the reason that there's Muslim hate is there's just so much ignorance, and we were purposefully always propagandized with this colonizer's mindset of white superiority, and the way, and not just with Zionism, just in general, and the way that you look at people that you perceive to be brown or whatever, you know, what, and just that. And I think people don't know, because if anybody ever spent any time with the Muslim people at a mosque or at any sort of event, you would never think those things. So I have to think that it's just total, just people are really friggin' ignorant. And here's the problem I have with the term Islamophobia, is that they're not scared of them. They're just bigots. You know, I'm sorry. You're not walking into a public place and being scared of someone like Ilhan Omar. Don't be absurd. So they're not scared of them. They just don't like them, and they feel superior to them. And it's just enough with it's sort of like, yeah, enough with their bullshit.
Well, we hope you guys are doing well. Obviously, we know what the big story is. Evidently, I've totally, incredibly found a way to make peace after blowing up parts of Tehran and all different things. Listen, we've already seen at the top of the conversation from Mr. Mamdani that there is not actually a ceasefire, despite what they are throwing out there. And you know why there isn't a ceasefire? Because Israel is not going to agree to one, even if they say that they are. We've seen how many times before that Israel says, okay, we agree to a ceasefire, and they don't even wait 24 hours to break it. They're like, oh, not done yet. You know, I saw somewhere that said that. You want to know how they said the ceasefire is going to go? So Iran's going to start tonight, and then Israel's going to start in another 24 hours. Just
the theater of it all.
Let's get a few little extra shots in before we're done.
It's like World Wrestling, but unfortunately, this is how people get dead, and regular people get dead. And honestly, if it were not for the grace and the sort of like restraint of Iran, Israel would have been gone a long time ago. And their response, not only did they give them the warning that this is coming, which they did, they gave them time to evacuate, and they really only used the same amount that was used on them. It was real. And so this is an opportunity for Trump to, in theory, please his Zio-Nazi funders, come off looking like he did something when we know he didn't, because he didn't reach any of their uranium. Like, it's just silly. It's theater, but I don't see how it works when we all know this. That's what I don't understand. Like, if we didn't know this, then we would think, oh my God, he hit their nuclear sites. Oh my God. Like, but so that's what I don't understand. How does this work?
Well, we're already getting reports out of Tehran that the first site, forgetting the name of it right now, but that it's been abandoned for like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even operating. So what's the point uh, this is basically a PR war, and even if Trump was acting with restraint, Netanyahu is not acting with restraint in
No.
any way, shape, or form. And as we are going to point out over the course of the night, one of the reasons we're also of the mind that they have engaged Iran in the capacity that they have is because they know that the globe has firmly turned against them with their genocide in Gaza, and they are trying to draw as little attention to it now as possible. They, knowing how politics typically works in this country and many other places, is that everybody has a short-term memory. But when the reports are coming out now that no, it isn't 50,000 people that are dead, and believe me, you're going to hear it from the Zionists, as we've always pointed out. You want to know who the real bigots, the real bloodthirsty psychopaths are in society? They're going to see a number that says anywhere from 350 to 400,000 Palestinians are now dead. It's not that many. It's like 200,000, so it's not so bad. That's how they're going to frame it. They're going to frame it as, we've only killed a couple 100,000. So get your numbers right if you're going to, give us a hard time. That's how they see it. That's really how they see it.
Well, they actually do believe that Israeli lives are worth more. I mean, they believe that. So if you believe that, then any number is still going to be sufficient. And the truth is, they don't care because they want them gone. Now, most of them probably don't necessarily want them, genocided, but they all want them not in their vicinity. So, I mean, it's just, it needs to stop. They need to be lanced like a boil of humanity.
Guys, we've got almost 400 people watching already. We only have 158 of you that have hit that like button. So
how is that possible? How is that possible?
if you could smash that like button, we would tremendously appreciate it. It'll make a huge difference this evening as we go forward. As we've said, we're very optimistic about where things are going for us. People seem to like our content, surprisingly. I don't know if they like me. They certainly like you. I think we're doing the best.
They must like you. You got like 12,000 subscribers I think you got more subscribers while I was gone than I think for the past 2 years prior to that.
Actually, since you've been gone, it was almost like 14,000 that we were able to pull. But listen, it's attributable to a lot of different things. Now, I'm not going to take credit for everything that happened. I think we all know. Can we get to the news? Oh,
yes, we'll get to our stuff. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. I know we haven't seen each other really in a long time.
Yeah, melanistic. I haven't ever seen you in the chat before, so my guess is that you're not used to our banter going back.
We have to. If I am not like able to have any fun, this sucks. Really, it does. This really sucks. The shit that I see that I will never get out of my head, So yeah, if I don't have some levity, this just can't happen. So yeah. Anyway, but we are going to get to the news.
Sam, we have people in the chat like Travers and Jimmy and a whole bunch of others that were with us when we had 5,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
we've got some real OGs here. Dave Hunter has been with us since a long time ago. So yeah, it is. I'm a snack.
But new people do want to know what's going on. And so we do have things to talk about, but we do not ever claim to be a news show. When you want like international journalism, you go to places like, I don't know, Gray Zone or Electronic Intifada, Breakthrough News, or, people like Abby Martin, Glenn Greenwald.
Netanyahu's son is in Miami Beach.
Yeah.
What I will say in terms of news and what we will always provide you honest assessments. We get information from various people. Some things are off the books, if you will, from sources that want to share information with us. And then you also have, from what we can provide, the ability to bring to attention certain news stories that other people may not be familiar with. And I think that more than anything else is where we bring a lot of value to the table. You see, Debbie wants you to watch Brian Tyler Cohen. We would tell you that you're probably better off watching us. We'll at least give you the straight dope.
Well, this is what I will say. I won't say we're not biased, because we are. We have a mission that we're trying to accomplish, which is, justice-based and fighting for people that are the least of these. So, we have our agenda, but we're not journalists. But what we do is find out information, say what we think, and always bring on people that actually really do know things. So that's why, and the reason we know things is because of the amount of time we spend talking to people who really know things and reading what those people say. That's
We're going
why.
to give you, before Norman comes on with us, we're going to give you a couple of stories that will give you an idea of where things are kind of at right now. Now, Jen, I'll let you make the call. You want to go Democratic side first or Republican side first?
We're not going to play that game because there's too many other shows that do that. That's not our.
No. It's I'll know where to go with it. You just tell me which one.
No. I want to know which stories. I can't go by that. I don't want to know.
AOC or Massie?
Oh, well, I don't know. Let's do Massie. I don't feel like a rant right now.
Okay.
I feel like I'm in a good mood right now. I don't need to be on the rage meter just yet.
Oh, that's fine. Well,
wait. While I say that, before I say that, with the rage meter, guys,
Yeah.
we do have a merch store now. So you on YouTube. So definitely you could check that out. And I don't know if Colin, if you have put the new stuff in there yet, but we have shirts and gear that says "Feel Enraged, Get Engaged" on the back and has our logo on the front. And any money that we get from that is going to go to Heal Palestine. And it isn't about like necessarily raising money, is just awareness. So yeah, I don't know if that is there yet, but it will be. So just, yeah. Sorry, I said rage meter, and I'm like, it reminded me to like, pimp the store.
Fair enough. I'm glad that you did. And remember, all of the proceeds that we get from anything that is sold in the store is going to go directly to Heal Palestine that Steve Sosby oversees.
Yeah.
So we will do our part.
The stuff with the Feel Enraged, Get Engaged. It's really just to draw awareness. And that was done in my mind for that. That's why, you know what I mean? I don't mind making a few dollars if somebody wants to just go buy a logo mug.
I think it's obvious right now, regardless of how this unfolds between Israel and Iran, that there is a definitive split amongst the political ranks, particularly on the MAGA side of politics, or just, what you would call the new GOP, so to speak. But Jen, I would like for you to share with the audience kind of your prediction about how things are ultimately going to unfold, because we are obviously huge supporters, not just of Thomas Massie, but it has been brought to our attention that our conservative buddy, Clint Russell, is strongly, and I mean strongly, contemplating running for Congress in the GOP primary against Randy Fine in this next upcoming election cycle. And so that race, I think,
excites me.
Yeah, I mean, that race in a lot of ways, I think, will define what we consider to be the libertarian versus neocon split that has definitely come to the surface within the GOP. So how do you foresee this sort of odyssey happening right now as we get to Thomas Massie and what's going on?
Are you talking about like what I was saying to you earlier about like what I think in terms of any sort of Labor Party ever happening?
Yeah, I mean, what are the odds that that's going to happen? I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is my, and by no means do I have a horse in the race, the revolution, like the way in which it happens. I'm here for it. So, but what I'm saying is this is how I think it would go. The Democrats are essentially done. There's not enough elitists in this country. There's not enough people buying their bullshit anymore, and we don't need new Coke. And I've said that for a long time. So I think they're going to just sort of wither. I think they'll exist in California and places, but slowly but surely they'll go away. But I think that the rift in the GOP has potential for the libertarian, actual America First people that are labor, because at the end of the day, this is a class war, to pull away from the neocon, religious, Zio warmongers. And that is an opportunity for those of us that are actual like leftists and want to have, an anti-war, pro-labor party. I think that's our opportunity to like get in somewhere. And that's where we have an opportunity to have a Labor Party where it's never going to happen in the Democratic Party. It's never going to happen there. They are so far gone up their own asses in that party that most people in the country laugh at them. Like they're a joke.
And keep in mind, I think this is very important to point out. I want everyone here to understand this. I think Mamdani has an excellent chance to win tomorrow, but even if he does, Cuomo's camp has made it abundantly clear that he will run as an independent, just like Eric Adams in the general election. Now, granted, if he was running solo as an independent, because the gentleman who's the GOP candidate, I forget his name, he's run a few times already, he's not going to get that much of the vote share. But I think if Mamdani is the nominee, he would still be probably the favorite because of the fact that you would have the split between Cuomo and Adams at the same
Who's
time.
the Republican? Like, I don't know enough about the.
Like I said, I don't remember his name. He's if anybody in the chat, the name of the
or
the
who is
GOP,
likely, right? Who is the other?
it's already been established who the guy's going to
And
be.
is it
but-
so? But what I'm saying is, those are the only parties that matter.
Yes, that's it. The Democratic establishment has proven time and again that they're not going to change. Like, that's not happening. And the reason they're supporting Cuomo, despite all of his obvious flaws and the fact that he's just a terrible guy, and frankly is, he should have been charged with manslaughter as far as I'm concerned. But he plays ball. He plays ball with the corporate infrastructure that is New York power politics. And Zohran, while he may do it to an extent, he's not going to do it the way that Cuomo's going to do it. That's not going to happen. And so even that slight change to the Curtis Sawa, thank you very much, Jean-Claude. Really appreciate it. So he's the Republican. He'll get, I don't know, 10, 15% of the vote or whatever it's going to be. And then the rest of it is obviously going to be split. But if Zohran wins, it's almost assured that Cuomo's going to get in the race. Now, I bring this up because we obviously don't have much faith in what's going to obviously happen with the Democratic Party. On the
Cuomo
GOP,
is so disgusting. Can we just at least just like not gloss over how absolutely disgusting he is? And this is what, like, I have said it like a lot. Like, if somebody's corrupt but they take care of their people,
think Mayor
right.
Daley in Chicago.
Right, or Mario Cuomo, okay? Like,
Heck, even Giuliani, when he was the mayor of New York, he was very popular. So
but he's gross. But no, I'm just saying,
I didn't
it's
say
like,
he was.
I feel like, Cuomo is just so disgusting and lechy, and it's just amazing to me that that people would vote for him. And who are those people? And why are there so many of them? He's so disgusting. Like, he left in disgrace. He should be in prison. He was a bully and an assaulter.
Listen,
I mean,
I'm gonna be the new mayor of New York. I know you think it's a step down from the governor's mansion.
I think that, and I think that your dad would be ashamed of you, is what I think.
Listen, my
Sonny,
father.
pipe down, Sonny.
Dad, rest in peace.
At least you're not Fredo.
No, I'm definitely not Fredo. I am definitely Sonny. I'm Sonny.
Oh, you're Sonny. And you know what happened to Sonny?
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet.
Stay in the car.
I ain't staying in no car this time. And I'm not going to let some, brownie progressive duty head, tell me what I'm going to do and not do with my power. So Cuomo's coming back. Do you know that Bloomberg gave me $10 million? $10 million.
I see. And that's the whole, you know who somebody is by who they affiliate with and who they support, and who, like, you really can tell a lot. And so anybody to me that would in any way be supported by Michael Bloomberg is automatically just it's a deal breaker right there.
Well, I think one of the most disgusting, I think maybe the most disgusting aspect of this particular election, if you're only going based on what the initial exit poll numbers are showing over the past week, is that the black vote is breaking heavily for Cuomo. And who do you blame for that? Well, I'll tell you one person that I blame. I blame Al Sharpton and the fact that guy still has some level of power within the New York political scene. I mean, I don't expect James Clyburn to move the needle that much.
Not there.
But somebody like Sharpton, who calls himself a reverend. Like, anybody who refers to him as a reverend that's a joke within itself.
I feel that I have limited capability to go too far in on Al Sharpton. So let me refer everybody to Sabby Sabs. There's a clip that she has out from a few days ago maybe even a week ago, going all in on Al. So I'll just I'll say ditto to what she says.
I'm sorry, but you know what I think of when I see Al Sharpton? Al not Sharpton. He's not sharp at all. No, he has that giant head that reminds me of NBA Jam. If you remember when that game was popular and all the guys had the ginormous heads, he's like, it's a blowout. And that's
you know, he used to be so obese, and so your skin gets stretched out. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Yeah, he does look. He looks a little like he's been deflated.
Yeah, I guess that's one way of looking at it. But I would definitely say that a lot of it is just old school politics. And let's not forget, you also have Eric Adams in the race, who clearly has been doing nothing but probably bad mouthing Zohran forever, and wants to maintain some semblance of a shot of winning as an independent. So he's going to do what he has to do to get his corporate money. So he's going into all of the black neighborhoods himself and doing the exact same thing. Now, Zohran is doing very well with white voters, and he is doing unbelievably well with Asian voters. And the Asian
but when you say Asian,
it's all
okay,
all Asian votes. But anybody who knows New York City, especially in Queens, there is a very large Asian, especially Chinese population. So I would imagine that he has run a phenomenal race, and they are so petrified that he is going to win.
Good. That pleases me. See, that's one of those feel-good things for me. Yeah.
And hopefully they waste all this money. I mean, that probably more than anything else. And this is where it gets into this whole, what type of an impact, if any. And I think it's an appropriate transition, Jen, because there is this belief that somehow AOC and Bernie really moved the needle in this race. And I don't think that's the case. I'm not saying that they didn't help, but in terms of the political hubris, especially on AOC's part, since she is the most recognized politician in all of New York City.
Oh, you're wanting to transition to AOC?
Well, we're talking about Zohran. And so right now, when you're talking, and I don't want to get into the whole AOC thing when Norman is here. So
no.
So I figured it would make sense to just cover this now, because she has been displaying the type of behavior that a political opportunist displays. And it isn't just with Zohran. It's actually with Mahmoud Khalil as well. So
anyway, can I say, Nathaniel, if you're watching, this is where I need a graphic for a rage-o-meter to be moving it, like coming on the screen in some sort of animated fashion, because I'm I know where you're going, and I'm so aggravated. I'm so enraged.
I would be too. And I think it's fair to say that, I mean, as I said, can Alex get out the vote? Yeah, I think she can. But I know you really wanted this. You sent me this Instagram clip of this lady who you said perfectly captures what you're thinking.
Yeah. Oh, you put that up? Yeah. No, I honestly, thank you. It almost it sort of alleviates the pressure on me to say it. I can almost yeah.
Okay. So if you guys want to know, you want to know what Jen's thinking, this is what Jen's thinking.
And the opportunisticness of AOC to jump on the scene when Mahmoud Khalil is getting released, as if she has done literally anything to support those who have advocated for Palestinian liberation. Weren't you on the side of Biden and Harris when they were actively engaging in this genocide? And now suddenly Trump is in a position of power and you've got a lot of opinions on the matter. You're standing by Mahmoud. We see you. You're a grifter and I hate you.
Whew. Ouch.
Ditto. Well, I see you. You're a grifter. I don't hate you because you're not worth hating, but I see you and you're a grifter.
She is working tirelessly for a ceasefire, Jen. Don't forget that word.
The fact that she said that all of it. I gave Alex grace for how many years? And enough is enough. Enough is enough. I want her to run for greater office so she can get her ass handed to her. That's what I want. I don't think she can win a statewide seat. If she wants to sit in that house or seat for the rest of her life, a la Nancy Pelosi, she can do that. She could probably get away with that, but that's it.
The biggest issue that I have with Alex is that she has on good authority from what I know, thrown a lot of people under the bus. And to me, that is the type of thing in politics that
We know those people.
Yeah. Like I've literally thrown people under the bus, including some elected officials, and we'll just leave it at that. So to say that she is very ambitious would be an understatement. The idea that she is going to show up at Mahmoud's release and essentially steal the spotlight from him. And it's not even about the spotlight. It's that two big differences between her and Bernie. First of all, even if Bernie were at that event, he would never, ever stand in the way of Mahmoud making his speech. He would stand in the background in solidarity just to show that he was there. The idea that she felt the need to get in front of the camera, even if she helped get him out, to me, it's bad form.
Well, here's the thing. It just shows that she's in it for her. It shows that for her, it's about her. Because in all reality, there was no need for her to even speak. He got released. What the hell did she need to even speak for? And you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of when we ran in 20 and there was the event in Cooper City. Do you remember that? And they borrowed you. I don't know if you had moved here yet. There was that Black Lives Matter event in Cooper City. And
I don't think so then. Maybe not.
Okay. So the one where Debbie was there and she was wearing if we didn't stand for people, then who would stand up for us shirt? And I was wearing my abolished ICE. I was wearing my abolished ICE. But anyway, so we were at this thing and they borrowed my megaphone and she comes up to the woman who coordinated this, a woman in Cooper City, and said, "I'll speak if you would like me to." And then she walked off. And then I was talking to her and I'm like, that's kind of nerve. And they were like, yeah, that's nerve. So they didn't even let her speak. And then they thanked me out loud for allowing them to use the speaker. And that's when she walked off, like all like pissed off to her car. And I forget what it was that happened to us after that. But that was the first time that there was some sort of retribution. She had her like real first Marsha moment.
Well, we're going to save a little South Florida politics for when Mr. Finkelstein is here. I've got a little surprise.
Oh, no. Why? South Florida stuff with him?
Yeah.
Okay. Does he know that stuff?
He'll know what he needs to know. So this is the statement from Mahmoud Khalil, who we are obviously very thankful that he is now. Yeah. The fact that this is even a conversation should scare people.
I hope this is the part that I saw because he says something that I want to sort of piggyback. But yeah, play this.
After this facility, your rights leave you behind. So once you enter there, you see a different reality, just a different reality about this country that supposedly champions human rights and liberty and justice. But once you cross literally that door, you see the opposite side of what actually happening on this country under just the eyes of everyone. But I will leave it here. Thank you so much, everyone. And again, like, I will be able to give more comments in New York, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, that was good. But I guess I didn't see this. I only saw the clip of him speaking before she stuck her big mug in the picture and started talking. And what he said was talking about that he's not scared of them and he's going to keep doing what he's doing. And this is just how he's a warrior.
He is. And for a lot of people, it takes a lot of courage and intestinal fortitude to go through what some of them go through. When you think about all that Julian Assange went through, I mean, they try to mentally, physically, and emotionally break you so that you will not challenge the system. And that's kind of what they're counting on right now, because we all are looking around saying to ourselves, how is the system going to maintain itself for much longer? It seems that it's kind of breaking at the seams, does it not?
Yeah, no, we have a problem. We definitely have a problem. I wanted to, are we done covering that story about that my rage-o-meter with Alex?
Well, is there anything else you want to add?
No, but I want to know, I found these little I found some information that I just thought was interesting and relevant to, you know, what's going on right now. So I was curious. Okay, so that's okay. So so as people know, anybody who doesn't know, I was traveling for a while, and so I, you know, been looking into different things, but I just wanted to talk about a particular country and then, you know, discuss. Okay, so it hosts one of the largest refugee populations with almost 1 million, mostly from Afghanistan and Iraq. And according to its constitution, the government is required to provide every citizen with access to Social Security covering retirement, unemployment, old age, disability, accidents, calamities, health and medical treatment and care services. And it's covered by just their existence. They just get to have that. And I just thought that sounded like such a great country, you know? So do you know where that is?
I don't.
It's Iran.
Oh, well, that's not surprising.
And the other thing I wanted to
But I
point
thought
out,
that Iran was the most dangerous country in the world, Jen.
I'm just saying, okay, so that's they have healthcare in their constitution. Okay, I'm just going to leave that there. And then I also found a few other fun educational facts about Iran that I don't think people know. And I think that these are things, again, ignorance is our enemy. The reason that people hate them is because they've never met them. They don't know them. So I just thought if you were interested, I found a couple really interesting factoids about Iran.
And they've
Iran.
they've also succumbed to the propaganda. I mean,
Well, right.
no
And
question.
I want to set this shit straight. So, as I just said, Iran, I know it's Iran, but that is the key thing. Iran is pronounced Iran, not Iran. Okay. First, Iranians are not Arabs. They're Persians. They don't speak Arabic. They speak Persian. Okay. So that's, you know, right there. The Persian language is called Farsi, and it has its own alphabet. Iran has one of the oldest continuous civilizations in the world, dating back to at least 3200 BCE. They are around China and India. Like they've been around forever, way longer than our stupid selves. Okay, let's move on from that. The Persian Empire was one of the most powerful empires in history, known for its art, architecture, poetry, and tolerance. And I don't need to get into this. Iran was once home to the world's first monotheistic religion, Zoroastrianism, which I do know. I know what it is because it's Freddie Mercury was born into that. So I do know that. I just cannot pronounce it. And introduced ideas like heaven, hell, angels, and free will long before Christianity or Islam. Persian is full of poetic metaphors. Iranians, okay, and this just goes into details of the things. They are so far beyond us that it's laughable to me. And so I just, you know, just food for thought.
Yeah. Well, that's like suggesting that the people who live in Israel are native to the Middle East. So
I want to also say, to me, calling anybody Arab that doesn't refer to themselves that way is an insult. It's rude because it isn't a people. It's a language. What are you talking about? Are you talking about Palestinians? Are you talking about Egyptians? Are you like, who are you talking about? Are you talking about Pakistanis? Like, I don't know who you're talking about just because they speak Arabic. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, as we know, the reason that they do it is because they are very comfortable with dehumanizing them.
But it shouldn't, the truth is it's insulting to me to anybody when you generalize people based on a language that they speak, when that language is spoken by people from so many different countries and cultures. So are you just basically saying they're brown and they're not Jewish? Because that's what we were raised to believe. So it's just gross. It's just gross. Know who you're talking about or don't talk about them.
Easier said than done.
I wish.
People so flippantly have that attitude.
Oh my God. People, I cannot tell you the amount of people that talk about things they don't know. But when you're talking about people you don't know, it's, you're just, you know, you're making an ass of yourself, really. Like, it's just enough.
So we've got an interesting segment that we're going to do here before Norman arrives. Big shout out to Jacob Berger, because he does an amazing job as another outspoken anti-Zionist Jew, like Jen. He's holding it down in New York and has been helping out with Zohran, and obviously is good friends with Blakely and just does an amazing job. Obviously was helping out Greta Thunberg with the flotilla. He's just an all-around great guy.
Yeah, he
You
is.
guys have not been checking out the content that's been coming out lately, particularly about going to war in Iran, but really dying for Israel.
Oh my God.
You guys have no idea what you've been missing. So here comes some awesome content.
I don't want to go fight Iranians for Israel.
Joey, don't you dare be anti-Semitic!
This is so funny.
I want to go home, sir! You're some kind of anti-Semite, Joey!
I know it's AI, but it's accurate.
I don't even know why we were there.
Let's focus on why that thought is anti-Semitic, Joey.
Get a job, loser. Israel needs our taxes. But I'm not even dead.
Who's ready to live and
Anti-Semitic,
die
son.
for Israel?
It's so, again, if I didn't laugh at some of these things, it would there would be no joy in life right now. Like, that's the thing. It's very dark.
I think this is a different clip. I think it is.
Which,
so
what are you showing?
it's another satirical, why won't you die for Israel? I don't know, Jen. Trotsky, we just changed it. Welcome to the revolution.
You know who you know that who Trotsky had an affair with, right?
Yes, Frida Kahlo. Did I say your last name right?
Yeah.
Kahlo? I did. Okay.
Kahlo.
Iran attacked me out of nowhere! America needs to go to war for me! Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
That's for sure.
I don't want my children to die for Israel.
Stop crying. Their lives were promised to my people 2,000 years ago.
I don't want my children to die for Israel.
Do not be selfish. Your children will go to war for my people. It's time to step up. Our greatest ally, Israel, needs us. Send your sons. After all, they fund my paycheck.
It's pathetic. We're pathetic. It's just ridiculous. And the whole world sees it. The whole world sees it.
But I just get the impression that the more that this becomes front and center, and we are seeing, as we mentioned earlier, the rift that is existing between the MAGA factions, between those that fall on the side of Trump and are on the side of Israel, and those that are much more libertarian and fall on the side of America first. And here's the thing, and let's be as clear as we can. You cannot support Israel and support America. They are two juxtaposed positions. You have to choose.
In theory, they're juxtaposed positions. In practicality, it's all American empire.
Well, hold on. That's American empire. Yes, I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is, if you care about America, if you are America first and you are concerned about the direction our country is going,
then Zionism is your enemy.
Zionism is your number one enemy, bar none.
Yes.
Nothing controls our foreign policy and our domestic policy now the way that our unholy alliance with Israel has been brought to the surface. That is a fact.
Oh, Noah, nobody here is talking about libertarianism. Not right now, anyway. And that's not me. We're not that. But we do have a lot of common points, especially that anti-war movement. So, we work with whoever we can. But yeah, no, I'm not suggesting that the answer to our problems is libertarianism. Well, that's not, and we've done many shows with, especially look at any show we've ever done with Steve Grumbine.
Well, you've also said time and again that you cannot put yourself into a box. Anybody who just goes along with just one universal ideology, I have one universal ideology. I do not support anyone and anything that is bought and paid for by corporate special interests. That's my rule. Yeah. That's my guiding principle. And the biggest corporate whore that we have in our culture right now is the Israel lobby and those that feign fealty that get on their knees essentially for them. And that's what's happened. And we're seeing it right now. You're seeing people like Laura Ingraham go after Thomas Massie to say that, how dare you go after Trump?
All right, let's talk about the Thomas Massie story.
So Thomas Massie went on Face the Nation the other day to talk about the fact that he is trying to bring a bill to the floor, co-sponsored with Democrat Ro Khanna, that you have to get written authorization from the legislative branch to commence a war with Iran. Now, of course, they're going to claim we got a ceasefire now and that it's not a problem. Trust me, it's not over yet.
No.
Not even close. So here's Thomas Massie on Face the Nation yesterday.
What he promised us was we would put America first. And I think there are still voices in this administration. You've still got J.D. Vance. You've still got Tulsi Gabbard. You still RFK Jr.
See, this is an example of playing politics. So when you feel that you have to throw their names out there, considering that Tulsi just turned her back again, Lord knows how many
surprised? Are you surprised?
Not surprised. And I'm not surprised that he put my name out there, but nobody loves Israel more than me. Have you seen me up Shmuley's Tuchus as many times as you've said that I've been up there, Jet?
Oh, you're up as Tuchus. Let me just also say that Thomas Massie, widower Thomas Massie, you're rocking that salt and pepper facial hair, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they turned him into Heisenberg after his wife.
He's looking fine. I'm just putting that out there.
And he happens to be very good friends with our governor, Ron DeSantis. It is what it is.
That's not a selling point. So thank you for
But that's why when you have good things to say about somebody like Thomas Massie, and there is a lot of good to say, you have to take the good with the bad.
Of course. I mean, I know he and I would disagree on so many things, but I have respect that he actually represents his people and isn't a corporate whore. So
fair be warned.
Still got calmer heads that could prevail.
They were not persuasive in this case, clearly.
Well, somebody was persuasive. AIPAC is very persuasive. For instance, the Israeli lobby in Congress. If you look at my colleagues' feeds now, they all look the same. They're all.
Could you imagine going on national television and hearing somebody like AOC make a statement like that? It's not going to happen.
Never.
Now, why he is? I don't.
Because she's a coward, and he is not. He's okay being the only person in his party to do what he knows is the right thing to do, that his people want him to do. What is right to do is what his people want him to do. That's what he's doing, his job.
And he's
not that complicated.
And he's doing as good a job as anybody on Capitol Hill. Now, that, of course, is not saying very much, because we all know that the approval rating of our elected officials is basically in the toilet. It's probably in the teens. It's so bad. And the only people who actually are saying they're doing a good job are the biased ones on their side of the aisle that are just live and die with the red or the blue. When you take away those particular voters, then what you have is the overwhelming majority of the country who says we do not have a representative democracy anymore. This is not a constitutional republic, and it hasn't been for quite some time. Thomas Massie is a principled constitutionalist who actually cares about this country. It's just a shame that he's one of only, I don't know, maybe not even 5% of our elected officials. And that's a really scary prospect when people think that America is so damn great. No, it's not. It could be, but we have to, as AI says, end Zionism.
Tweeting the same message that we've got to support Israel and we've got to do this.
We don't have.
Well, this is regarding the resolution that he put forward, bringing up the War Powers Act, correct?
Correct. And it's obvious that the reason he's bringing it up is because he wants to draw more attention to the fact that the Israel lobby has essentially carte blanche over our government, that they do whatever they want, and everyone follows, goes right along with it.
Yeah, he very well could be the leader of that splinter that goes off and is that breakaway in the Republican Party. And he is somebody that I could see being amenable to working with people that are working people. I could see him being amenable to that stuff. So yeah, he is somebody in the category that is part of that break in the GOP.
Get this bum out of office ASAP.
I stand correct.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
He's gonna lead the party to. He's gonna lead not even necessarily half of them, but enough of them that added with some of us and other working people might be able to get somewhere. That's what I think.
Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky is not MAGA, even though he likes to say he is. Actually, MAGA doesn't want him, doesn't know him, and doesn't respect him. He is a negative force. Keep in mind, I wrote this when I was on the toilet. He is a negative force who almost always votes no. No matter how good something may be, he's a simple-minded grandstander who thinks it's good politics for Iran to have the highest level nuclear weapon, while at the same time yelling death to America at every chance they get. Iran has killed and maimed thousands of Americans. I have proof. I have proof, Jen. I've seen it. I've seen the proof. Believe me. Believe me. Remember when Sleepy Joe said he saw the babies' heads?
Yeah,
Well,
you saw the proof. You saw
I've seen
all
the proof. Too. I've seen it too.
Iranian terrorist. Yes,
I've
I'm
totally
sure.
seen it too. It's really great.
Ugh.
And even took over the American embassy in Tehran under the Carter administration. We had a spectacular military success yesterday and taking the bomb right out of their hands, and they would use it if they could. But as usual, and despite all of the praise and accolades received, the lightweight congressman is against what was so brilliantly achieved last night in Iran. Massie is weak, ineffective, and votes no on virtually everything but before him, including Rand Paul. No matter how good something may be, he is disrespectful to our great military and all that they stand for, not even acknowledging their brilliance and bravery in yesterday's attack, which was a total and complete win. Massie should drop his fake act and start putting America first.
Yeah. So that's it.
Excuse me, but he doesn't know how to get there. He doesn't have a clue. He'll undoubtedly vote against the great, big, beautiful bill, even though non-passage means a 68% tax increase for everybody, and many things far worse than that. MAGA should drop this pathetic loser, Tom Massie, like the plague. The good news is that we will have a wonderful American patriot running against him in the Republican primary, and I'll be in Kentucky campaigning really hard. MAGA is not about lazy, grandstanding, non-productive politicians, of which Thomas Massie is definitely one. Thank you to our incredible military for the amazing job they did last night. It was really special. Make America great again.
Again. So disgusting. But, you know, I'm really envisioning, you know, it's going to be people like Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene that are going to lead that sort of rift, that split. And what happens there, I don't know. But that's any potential that we have is there. As sad in that as that sounds, because I never thought I'd be. I mean, I always knew about Massie, but you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene seems to be willing to stand up to Trump, and those are the only people that are going to potentially be able to have anything to. You know what I mean? Who else is going to do it?
If there is any definition that I would look at when I'm measuring what would be considered "Make America Great Again" from a non-interventionist, pro-liberty, pro-free market perspective, that
America first,
about America first. That's Thomas Massie embodies that.
He does
in every which way, which is
sort of symbolic of most of the things that I would disagree with him on, because he's probably very nationalistic and a lot of things that I'm not. But yes, he has his priority is America, just not necessarily in the way that mine would be.
Well, remember the conversation we had with Clint Russell and what he was agreeable to. Remember what he said. If you guys agree to end the Fed, I will support a single-payer healthcare system. It's like with people that...
And yes, Matt Gaetz. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of his either. But we
have pointed out before that Matt Gaetz is a Nepo baby, but unlike somebody like the Nepo baby that's up the road from Jen, Mr. Mouskowitz, Matt Gaetz is in Congress because of his father. But Matt Gaetz because of his father, doesn't need the corporate special interest money to keep him in power. He decided to be principled, and he did the right thing. And now that he's got his show on OAN, he's saying exactly what he wants to say, which is a hell of a lot of truth about what's going on right now. And that, in many ways, is a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Plus Marjorie Taylor Greene, of all people.
Right. And, it's not like, and I want to be very clear. I don't like these people. You know, Gates is pretty lechy to me. I'm not a fan. There's a lot of issues there. But he's willing to speak up to Trump. And right now, Trump is the leader of the people that are working against us and killing people. So anybody who's willing to stand up to that, and clearly the Democrats aren't. So any resistance is in-house for them. So again, I don't like these people. That's what that's who's doing the work. You know, I mean, I don't know what else to say, but yeah.
No, I definitely agree. And it's just, we're at I mean, not in this exact moment in this minute, but I would definitely say we're at some type of a crossroads. Like there is going to be a definitive split. And even if, yeah, apparently you did.
I've been hanging out in the waiting room saying, please let me back in.
Why do you think Trump would go on such a tirade against Massie like that?
Complete insecurity, overcompensation, for the same reason that an oligarch is going to oligarch. These are very, very small men that are compensating in just a way. You know, this to me oozes of no confidence. But yet to him, he's all showing it up. Oh yeah, not surprised. But so, I mean, this to me is a key difference between confidence and cocky. See, Trump is cocky. He's not confident. If you were confident, you wouldn't put this out.
No,
Also,
and I think that's also
makes it scary to people.
Yeah.
And
well,
it isn't. It's laughable.
Well, you've also brought up the point regarding Massie is that, you know, he's looking like Heisenberg. Massie probably knows you know, the lady's been checking him out. He's feeling good about himself.
And the truth is he knows he's right. See, he has actual right now truth, constitution, reason, all those things on his side, facts, those inconvenient things.
And the other thing that cannot be understated, and I know that this is something that people probably recognize as truth, there are different degrees of certain what you would consider high-level education institutions that people go to. Trump always used to brag about how he got into the Wharton School of Business at UPenn. And maybe he got in on his own. Maybe he didn't. But what I do know is that Thomas Massie is a rags to riches story who got into MIT. And he is a very smart guy.
Yeah.
And so Trump
He's reasonable.
Yes. So Trump's not going to box him in. Like, that's not going to happen.
No.
Trying to pick a fight with Thomas Massie. First of all, you are the president of the United States and you're picking a fight with Thomas Massie. It also goes to show you what having real like the whole thing with the squad, like so much of it was theatrical. Everything about Massie is the genuine article, whether you agree with him or not.
Yes.
And I give him credit for that. So even if Trump goes after him, he is only going to get so far with thinking that he's going to raise a bunch of money and he isn't going to go after the base that's going to say, no, Massie's one of the best people that we have. Why would you be going after him? When the Democratic Party went after Bowman and Bush, people just basically kept their mouth shut.
Yeah, well, because the Democrats are cowards. But, you know, they went out, didn't he already establish this? Didn't he go after Thomas Massie a few months ago? And everybody basically said,
told him to back the fuck off, and he still went after him anyway. And now he's doing it again.
But it's just not going to get anywhere.
No.
It's not going to get anywhere. It's just, and that's why it's all just bluster and bravado. And he doesn't, I don't know if he even necessarily cares, or he just always has to constantly in his mind be putting out that persona of fighting with everybody.
We shall see what happens. We're still waiting on Mr. Finkelstein. He did say between 9 and probably like 9:15, so maybe a little bit longer. Again, he did say he's out canvassing.
Yeah, and the truth is that it's more relevant right now.
Yes. So in the meantime, if you guys are, again, so inclined, remember, you can go to patreon.com/generational change for as little as $5 a month. You could support our small but mighty and growing channel. And for those of you who are so inclined to contribute on YouTube, our very first super chat under the new banner, Chris Garrett, who's been with us, one of our OGs for sure. Generational Change is changing call signs. Generational Change is now our Force One revolutionary change. I long live the channel.
Thank you.
S. Kolachuk, thank you so much for the 2 Canadian A. I don't know what that is. It looks like pi. +1.
Pi +1 equals. You know what? I wonder if it's certain emojis and we can't see them because they don't come through on. No, that's a YouTube. I don't know. Is that? Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either. So here's
guessing. Chuck, explain if you can.
Explain yourself. M.N. Luca, thank you so much for the $10. The rebrand is hot. I think it looks pretty good. It'll look really great around the holidays. That's for sure.
Guys, honestly, yeah, it will. It'll look good, and it'll compensate for the fact that we have no more Festivus. Festivus is dead to us. That doesn't rhyme, but that you guys get where I'm coming from.
Festivus is dead to us.
It is. So we can't do that anymore. I appreciate that, guys. Don't forget, we do have a store now, and any of the merch that's all of the if Feel Enraged, Get Engaged, anything that we sell. Anything, all proceeds are going to go to Heal Palestine. And no, I don't think we're going to be making them a ton of money, but I just want everybody to know about that organization and the work that they're doing. So yeah, when I thought of it, I'm generally on the rage-o-meter having to do with that. So that's where it came from.
Kira and Gina, thank you very much for the $2. Trump wins Nobel piece of shit prize. He totally wants his Nobel Peace Prize. That's for sure. I don't know, Jen, is he going to get one?
Why not? Obama did.
I mean, they gave it to Obama after
didn't Kissinger get one? I mean, like, it doesn't mean anything. So why not? He might as well.
Yeah, why not? Just, listen, as a lot of people like to say, we are living in idiocracy right now. So why not just go for broke? Just give it to him. Let him have his little toy. Maybe then he'll calm down. Willie Bragg of the Willie Bragg Show. Thank you so much for the $5. Just finished live streaming, so I will be watching on replay. Welcome back, Jen. One day I will return to the UK and Ireland when I felt
at home. It's so good there. Yes. Ireland is so good.
If you guys are not subscribed to the Willie Bragg channel, please make sure that you do if you can. And S. Kolachuk with the 5 Canadian A. Peter said she literally threw people under the bus.
I'm always calling. I don't know if he's saying that because he knows that I always would say that to you. Not literally.
Well, they did a South Park episode, because of course they did, about Cartman getting thrown under the bus, literally, by Mr. Mackey. Okay, well, it didn't turn out too good for me at the end. Okay. So, yes, she figuratively throws people under the bus for her political.
She figuratively hangs them out to dry.
That's what I said. Okay. Kira and Gina, thank you for the $5 this time. Tulsi, my previous statements have been taken out of context. I always have supported regime change wars.
Yes.
If they pay her enough, of course they will.
Another disappointment, I mean, this is hence revolutionary change. It's not coming from politics and it's not coming from elections. It's not going to happen. Anybody that we thought in the past 10 years, they've all sold out or were always sellouts or never believed what they said they believed. All of them, even Bernie. So, it is what it is.
Well, I did the best that I could, and I apologize.
Whatever. I think it's always been theater. I think it's world wrestling, and I think that Bernie is at this point, he is playing a role, and that's it. I don't know. I think early in his life and career, he did believe in those things. I think in his heart, he believes in those things, but he also very much believes in staying in line with the system, and that is just not working. So if you're doing something repeatedly over and over and over again, and it's not working, and instead of changing course, you just usher people back in, now you're part of the problem.
Well, you got to really
so at this point, he's part of the theater, whether or not he started out that way. And it's time for us to accept this.
But then the question becomes, it's like when people are asking, it's like when Colonel Wilkerson was on and he's saying Trump is going down a road to nowhere. Well, trying to facilitate people back into the Democratic Party is a road to nowhere. The party is showing that it will unequivocally not change course. It is not changing under any circumstances. They're trying to resurrect Andrew fucking Cuomo. Like, do you not get it? Right. And when people say that there's going to be some type of a generational change, they're going to try to throw Buttigieg up there, for God's sake. So when they do eventually usher in a new generation, they're going to hand it to people that are going to continue to play ball. They're not all of a sudden going to change their philosophy and say, I'm not taking Wall Street, Silicon, or military industrial complex money. Of course not. They'll never have an opportunity to get their message out there. And now that everything is controlled by Google, forget about it. The only reason we haven't been suppressed yet is because we're not at the level of the Tim Pools and the Joe Rogans.
Which is why part of me likes to be under the radar. So when I was just traveling back, I had it in my mind, like, I know that what's happened to people that are big content creators. I know what has happened to, I forget the attorney's name who was on our show from Michigan that was representing the students at UMichigan, that he got detained at the airport and they wanted to search his phone and all this shit. And I actually I like being under that radar, you know? So the thought of getting to a point where I get harassed when I come back into the country, that does not sound appealing to me. This is why I would not make a good celebrity for that reason. I don't want to be on people's radar. I don't want people to know what I'm doing and where I'm going.
It's understandable.
Right.
USA Forever One, thank you very much for the 1999. Thank you all. Thanks for all the hard work you guys do.
Thank you.
The reason we continue to do this hard work is because even when the channel was small, we still knew that we had a good group of people that were supporting our channel and wanting to see us, hit that stride. So the fact that we've been able to hit any type of a stride is extremely gratifying, and contributions like yours allow us to continue to facilitate that growth. So thank you very, very much. Progressive Lefty, one of our OGs and great contributors to our channel. Thank you for the $6.99 Canadian A. OT got eliminated at my hospital, so my super chats will go down. But I wanted to say welcome back, Jen and Peter.
Thank
did a great
you.
job holding down the fort.
Thank you. And let me be very clear. People who do not have the means to donate, you just subscribing to our channel is so incredibly helpful. Like, really, I don't want anybody to ever put themselves in a situation like that. Like, don't do that. Like, we're good. Thank you.
You have to understand, Chris.
Jewish warmongering? What are we talking about?
We've been trying very hard to make this message clear. Now that Jen is back, this is more her lane. But there is a huge problem, and this is going to continue to evolve over time because, as we know, the Israel lobby is losing its power in this country.
Wait, are we talking about the fact that we need to correct this?
The conflation that Judaism and Zionism are the same thing is what the Zionists want you to do.
Stop saying that.
They want you to do that.
Yeah.
This is
it
why
has nothing to do with Judaism. In fact, it's the antithesis of Judaism. We've discussed it a lot. But even though you probably know that, just saying it, words matter. Seriously. And not in a way that it offends me, because I don't give a shit. I don't care. I think people should be able to say, I hate Jews, and walk down the street and do whatever they want. I don't give a shit. But it doesn't help with what we're trying to accomplish in ending Zionism to have people hating Jews. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to help the situation.
I definitely agree. It's not going to help, but as we have pointed out, and we did a clip on Dan Bilzerian about a month ago, Jen was still here. And I said at the time, I'm like, look, I understand that he is saying free Palestine, and we can be very appreciative that he is on board and using his substantially large platform in order to do that. But at the same time, he is constantly saying, it's the Jews, it's the Jews, it's the Jews. When you go down that road, two things are going to happen. You are going to have anti-Semitism reach a fever pitch in which Jews who are not on board with this are going to be subject to attacks, and you are only going to garner more sympathy for the Zionist movement because they're going to call you anti-Semites, and then they're going to point to those statements and say, see.
And this is what I'm thinking. If you're actually, here's the thing, Jewish beliefs are anti-human. They've attacked the Islamic states as far back as 1940. Okay. Judaism is like a 3,000-year-old religion. So if it was in their
Excuse you, Judaism is like a 6,000-year-old religion.
Really?
Yeah.
6,000 years?
Yeah,
it was like 3,000. All right.
No,
In any
I
event.
mean, Hindu, the only modern religion, or if you want to call it that, that's older than Judaism is Hinduism. That's
no,
it.
I understand, but it doesn't matter. The point is to say that any group of people has been attacking the Islamic states as far back as 1940 is just, it has nothing to do with Judaism. Think about it. What started existing in 1940s? The state of Israel. That's created as a secular Zionist state. There are more Christian Zionists in this country than there are Jews in the world. So please stop. It's not helpful. You will get blocked.
Yeah, and the Christian Zionism, which we are going to talk about on Thursday with returning guest, we're going to have Casey Malone join Terry Heaton, who I believe is an ex-Baptist minister or evangelical minister, I believe.
Wait, what's his name?
Terry Heaton.
Okay.
So he's going to be a guest on Thursday, and Casey Malone is going to come back, and they're going to continue the conversation about Christian Zionism because it's still not getting talked about enough. I mean, listen, rightfully so. A lot of focus is on Jewish Zionism, and that is completely warranted. We totally understand that. But
this guy saying to 3 million killed by the Jewish people prior to World War II, that's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous by Jewish people. All right, you're done. I'm bored.
Don't just ignore. Don't block. Just ignore.
No. Bye-bye. We don't need that shit. Seriously, especially now. Goodbye. Anywho, onward.
Okay. Well, listen, when the channel, you see, this is what you're going to have a hard time understanding is that now that we have, live streams that are getting into the 300, 400, 500 live viewers, you're going to get people that are going to talk like that. That's how.
And when I see it and I don't like it, I'm going to get rid of it. It doesn't help. And it's distracting and it doesn't help. And it's just stupid.
You can't follow the chat. You can't follow the chat. It's not healthy.
If I catch it, I catch it.
I understand. I'm just saying.
And that's why, you know what? I think our moderators are too lenient. Seriously, guys.
No, you are not blocked. Why does everybody think this? It's so weird.
Why? No, I got rid of who I got rid of.
Yeah, I don't. Well.
And it's not, no, trolls don't bother me. That's not a troll. That's just a moron.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Little by little, you're going to wipe out the whole audience. Like, Peter, I have to do this. You're going to have your supporters. I'll have mine. Look.
Anywho, bygones.
Yeah. So, according to our trusty associate, Rachel, Terry Heaton wrote 2 books about the evangelical political relationship. Now, I'm sure there is a lot to be connected there with the likes of Pat Robertson, Jerry Falwell, Joel Osteen, all these grifters, because that's what they are. They don't really believe in God. They just figured out a way to make a lot of money by preying on people's fears and concerns.
Anybody who has turned their beliefs or other people's beliefs into a profit situation for themselves is suspect. Can we just like acknowledge that people that have private jets and live a certain lifestyle, they're not doing the Lord's work.
So I'm only familiar with the Catholic Bible, but can somebody explain the Schofield Bible to me? Like, does anybody just like briefly explain that? Because forgive me.
Don't ask me, but I did just see the Book of Kells, which was really cool.
What's that?
It's one of the oldest written art Bibles, essentially, done by hand on animal skin, and it's the whole thing, and it's just beautiful, and it's at Trinity University in Dublin.
Dublin.
Mm-hmm. It's like a big thing, It was sort of like, and I also saw the Magna Carta on this trip, by the way.
Yes, that's right. You did see the Magna Carta.
That was really cool. There are 4 remaining original
Hold on.
Magna
Norman's
Carta.
calling.
Oh, okay. We're getting in some info. So I'll finish saying this. There are 4 still remaining original Magna Cartas. They were all written at the same time. And they're all a little bit different. But the one in the Salisbury Cathedral in the UK is the one in the most pristine condition. And it was really cool to be able to see it. I'm just, if you're ever on your way to Stonehenge, you go through this town called Salisbury, and definitely it's worth going to see the Magna Carta if you're going through there. So that was actually really cool. We're probably getting stood up. That's what it looks like. Are we getting stood up? He's like, yeah. Anyhow, that happens. And guys, honestly, it isn't that we don't have this all organized, but it happens. We've been stood up by people before. I'm not sure what's going on, but we're going to find out. But that's okay. The Magna Jimmy Carter, very funny. I can't find that comment I can't. Oh, there it is. But yeah, it was really cool. I'm not, and it has nothing to do with even that the cathedral. Other than it was put in the protection of the church. That's why, but the fact that the Magna Carta predates so much of our institutional doctrines, it was just really cool to see where it originally came from. And it was very interesting. And it's not in English. It is not in English, but they have it translated at where they have it on display. And so it was really neat to read that. So are you coming back and joining us? I don't know. Peter. This is what I deal with. People, this is what I deal with. So apparently, I just saw him say, I understand. I can lip read a little bit. Let's see what's going on with the conversation. I don't know why he can't hear me just because he muted himself. He could have just turned it down a little bit. Oh, he's on his way. There it is. Okay. So he's on his way. So and as much as Peter knows that I hate doing a show by myself, I hate it. I never wanted to be a talking head. We transitioned our first congressional campaign into a podcast because I wanted to do long form interviews with authors, journalists, experts, and I wanted to use it as an opportunity to learn things and educate people. I never wanted to be a sitting talking head commentator. It's way more his bag, for sure. So, that's that. And I've always told him that, which is why we had the little thing called pontificating with Pete. We've done that, but I am not a talk to a camera sort of person. You've got to come back. You're driving me insane. No, we don't hear you. I don't hear you.
I put myself on mute.
Yeah, I got that, but you weren't even responding. Why must you do that to me? Why must you do that to me? Like, I get anxiety from that stuff. Why?
Oh, I'm just trying to take care of stuff behind the scenes. This is what I do.
Yes, that's so helpful. Thank you.
He is, in our humble opinion, the most important professorial academic voice in the Jewish community that we have today. And in light of everything that is going on right now with the backdrop of one of the more significant elections in recent memory for the New York mayoral seat, of which he was out assisting hopeful winner tomorrow, Zohran Mamdani, and also in light of what will hopefully be a major turning point in the support of the genocidal state of Israel in this country. We are extremely grateful, as always, to have Norman Finkelstein. Welcome back to Generational Change. I did it again. I meant revolutionary change.
Welcome to Revolutionary Change. We
All right,
had a
well,
rebrand. We had a rebrand. I've given up completely on the electoral anything having to do with that. At this point, it's like I'm past that. We had to evolve. So what do you want to start with what's going on in New York, Peter?
yeah, I mean, listen, I think that election to election, that's how you judge it. Like you have Butch where in California. Well, I think Zohran, if he is able to win tomorrow, I think could actually provide a lot of much needed help in an otherwise dire situation in New York. And Norm, I would love to hear from your perspective. This race isn't just about electing a non-corporate chief executive to Gracie Mansion. There is also something to be said about electing somebody who, in many ways, would be taking a direct shot at the Israel lobby and all of its power in New York City.
Well, let me begin. I want to just get something as an illustration.
Sure. That was a great interview.
No, but see, this is the thing that I say. We don't necessarily know things. We bring on people that are professorial. Like that's Absolutely. The point. That's the point.
Well, I've been out canvassing for Zohran Mamdani, and I thought I had done my last day yesterday. It's hot, and I am not as physically robust as I was. But then I opened my mailbox, and this is what I had in my mailbox yesterday. I'm going to show you.
Oh boy!
First, you must vote to stop Zohran Mamdani. That was the first. All in one mailbox. Before you vote, read what the New York Times said about Zohran Mamdani, uniquely unsuited to the city's challenges. Next, stop anti-Semitism. Stop Zohran Mamdani from becoming New York City mayor in Hebrew. Next, New York City can't risk a mayor who supports defunding the police. Zohran Mamdani is a dangerous choice for mayor. Next, the race for mayor has come down to two candidates. Zohran Mamdani, we want to defund the police. I'm a lifetime New Yorker. So I've seen everything. But this is the most brazen assault on our democracy as a mayoral election. When I go out and vote, when I go out and campaign, I tell each person, actually, this is not a complicated election. If you believe that New York City belongs to the Upper East Side billionaires, you'll vote for Cuomo. If you believe New York City belongs to all New Yorkers, you'll vote for Mamdani. This is a very simple election. It's a choice between plutocracy and democracy. That's all it's about. I said, you can disagree with Mamdani about this, you could disagree with him about that, but I think it's totally irrelevant. This is about plutocracy, the most brazen display of the plutocrats. If you look at the New York Times homepage, the whole week, above the paper, there was a banner headline saying, quoting the Times editorial saying, not to vote for Mamdani. But that wasn't the interesting part. If you go right now, either of you, the three people behind the money, it says this ad has been paid for by Michael Bloomberg, Bill Ackman, and DoorDash. They're not even trying to prettify it with a super PAC. They're just saying out loud, what used to be said, the Latin expression sotto voce, in a low voice. They're saying right out loud, we're buying this election. We're buying the election. And for the Upper East Side, it simply means two things. We're buying the election to make sure the billionaire class is in charge, and we're buying the election to make sure Israel is safe. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. They don't give a flying fig about New York. They care about the Upper East Side and making sure people like Bill Ackman, who's married to an Israeli pilot, and I'm sure the quid pro quo for that relationship is he has to do everything he can. She's a trophy wife. Do everything he can for Israel. He was the one who led the most brazen assault on academic freedom in our country's history when he went after Claudine Gay at Harvard. And now he wants the mayoralty. So that was my pitch. I said to people, when you have 5 minutes of campaign literature like this in your mailbox, this is not democracy. I'm sorry, this is plutocracy. They gave him $30 million, Cuomo. Bloomberg just last week.
10.
5, I think. My memory is 5. I could be wrong.
It started at like 6, and then he threw in another 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
But what's that to him? What's that to him?
I know it's nothing. I get that.
I also don't think anybody who doesn't live in New York City does not understand the concentration of wealth, basically between 20 blocks covering Park Avenue to First Avenue.
The Upper East Side is the richest district in the world.
Yeah. And it's all over.
So it was gratifying Mamdani's generation, because I was in the Prospect Park area. They're well off, but they haven't yet sold their souls. And so it was actually so easy that we decided to walk a distance to find people who were at least a little hostile.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, look, we've done the canvassing, so I understand how that goes. And you always feel like you can get more. Peter is like a canvas junkie. He's like, we always can do more houses. There's always another house.
New York is, as you know, it's a very ethnically based city. So if I went to Borough Park, which is Orthodox Jewish, it's quite likely I wouldn't have come out alive. But in this particular neighborhood, it was very, let's call it, auspicious for the results tomorrow.
Well, we were talking earlier, Peter, what you had said that Cuomo's big, one of the big groups supporting Cuomo is the Black community. You were saying that the demographics are showing that, and that there is definitely, and that to me, it's, we have that here locally, and that group is just very, very loyal to the Democratic, old school, neoliberal, like that's their comfort zone. And it's very hard to pull away.
That's totally correct. Yesterday, I was campaigning at a shopping mall, which has a predominantly African-American patronage. And they were the African-Americans were solidly Cuomo. It was very dispiriting.
Yeah.
And you don't want to argue, but when I was your age or younger, there was all this mythology about African Americans, that the Black liberation was the cutting edge of the revolutionary struggle. It's just not true. You saw that in South Carolina in 2020, where Jim Clyburn said vote Obama, and they all went out and voted Obama. And Jim Clyburn he's just Uncle James. He's just pathetic. No, he ended up, this past week he endorsed Cuomo. He'll just do anything the party leadership tells him to do. It's pitiful.
Well, you also have, Sharpton still running around the city with whatever audience he still has, singing the praises of Cuomo.
Well, I said Sharpton, I don't know. Look, Sharpton is a sleazebag from the get-go. Look, I remember Sharpton. You know how Sharpton, the oldest memory of Sharpton, he went to a school called Erasmus High School. And he had a raffle. And he was raffling a TV set. And guess who won the raffle?
Him.
Yeah.
All right.
That was the beginning of a legendary career. and then he was wired by the FBI. He was a stoolie.
I believe, as a person who lived in New Jersey for a majority of my life and was very familiar with New York and its politics, and then became very acquainted with South Florida politics, which is an extension of New York politics in many ways, especially in Southeast Florida. And then the experiences that we had, particularly in the Black community, when Jen ran against Wasserman Schultz both times. And what we discovered on the second go around, which was very interesting, which is probably something that goes on in New York as well, because obviously the Upper East Side is also extremely Jewish. So what you also have are these versions of political bribery, because there was a community organizer who we're not going to name, but somebody who was very influential, we'll say, within the Black community in the congressional district. And just Jen showing up at one of these events and being allowed to participate in the event brought the wrath of God from Wasserman Schultz down on this woman's head, and basically said, if you ever bring Jen to a public event again, I will make it my mission to get your 501c3 removed from your organization. I'm going to cut off your lifeblood. I will basically put you in the street. Like, that is how they, to me.
She threatened her 501c3 for inviting me to be in a parade.
And I don't think that's unique. I mean, Wasserman Schultz is a certain level of loathsome. We know that. But I would imagine that version of power politics, especially in a place like New York, I would imagine that goes on to get a lot of voters in line.
And Wasserman Schultz was an Obama favorite. even when she had to leave. She was left in some sort of corruption charge. I can't remember right now.
Well, what happened, this is something that people tend to forget, Norman, and I always like to bring it up. You see, Obama wanted Wasserman Schultz out at the convention in 2012, and she played the anti-Semitism card on him, and he backed off. Like, this was a big story, and I tried to find the clip forever from CNN, and I could never find it. Lord knows when we found out.
Why did you finally have to leave? I forgot what the reason was.
Well, because she was mismanaging the money.
She ran it into the ground. It ended up having to be like bought by the Clinton Foundation, essentially. I mean, she ran it into the ground. She spent as much money in a midterm election season that you would in a general. What was the year that she did that?
So that was 20. Yeah, that was 20.
When she had been entirely discredited, Obama wrote her a love letter. It was so.
Yeah. No. She knows where bodies are buried, is what it is.
Well, I think this is a spectacular transition into a special clip that I was saving that Jen is going to be surprised that I've got. But over this past weekend, there was a little event down in Little Israel, Broward County, Florida.
Oh, my God.
The Democratic Party of Florida, which is led by another Zion-Nazi named Nikki Fried, and all of her cohorts that joined in the event, including Lev Parnas's son, Aaron, among other people. So they had a keynote speaker at this event.
Oh, I know. Okay.
I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm just going to play this clip
for
all its glory. You'll get to see what was going on
This is our state Dem party at its best.
This is the Florida Democratic Party. If you want to know why Florida is a blood red state, well, this will explain a lot.
Ben, few Democrats nationally have reacted to the bombing. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said the president misled the country, failed to see congressional authorization for use of military force.
Keep in mind, they're not saying that they disagree with bombing Iran. It's that he should have sought the congressional people first in order to go and do it.
So he alone shoulders complete and total responsibility for any adverse consequences. Florida Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz spoke exclusively to our Local 10's Christina Vasquez. She's live now in Hollywood with reaction you'll only see right here on Local 10. Christina.
I caught up with the U.S. Congresswoman at a Florida Democratic Party fundraiser at the Hard Rock tonight.
At least they're honest at calling it a fundraiser instead of a gala, because they used to call it the Florida Democratic annual gala. Now it's just a fundraiser, because that's really all it is.
You know, many of the attendees only learning about the strikes as this event was already unfolding. She says that in her view, she does believe Israel's strike against Iran provided a limited window of opportunity to protect our national security interests by ensuring that a U.S. adversary never builds a nuclear weapon.
There's your keynote speaker right there.
Your keynote speaker. This is who you get to come and speak at your event, and you're trying to save the Democratic Party right now. I understand Cory Booker is a nice guy, but you do not get a bigger Zion-Nazi to come and speak at your event.
He was actually a member of the Yale Jewish Society.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, look, he knows which side of the bread is being buttered.
That's the difference between him and Richie Torres. He's actually a nice guy. Richie Torres is just a jerk. And hopefully his comeuppance may be coming sooner rather than later. The good news is, and I'm not, if you needed another motivating reason to get out there and knock on doors for Zohran, Richie has made it very clear that if he becomes the mayor, he's not going to run for governor. Well, at least he's smart enough not to go down that road. And that would be great. If we can get Zohran into the mayor's seat, maybe we could get Richie Torres out of Congress. That would be awesome.
Adding this.
My first concern is for our troops that are stationed in the Middle East, and obviously, you know, deeply concerned about the potential for retaliation. So what is critical right now is that, you know, hopefully.
I want to rip that fucking yellow ribbon right out of her pantsuit.
How did you know what I was going to say?
I don't care. I just want to grab that thing and rip it right out.
Notice how she doesn't have notice how she doesn't have an independent thought in her.
I'm here. I'm a little conservative. Plato in the Republic, he described the ideal society as one in which everybody does what they're best at. And so there's a division of labor. And if you are most skillful at being a carpenter, you should be a carpenter. If you're most skillful at being a lawyer, be a lawyer. So with that in mind, and he said an ideal society, its motto would be mind your own business, which is just do what you do best and don't go in anybody else's lane. So with that thought in mind, I would be perfectly happy to listen to Debbie Wasserman Schultz talk about making latkes and playing mahjong. But once you get beyond latkes and mahjong, Debbie, mind your own business, courtesy of Plato.
Oh, Lord.
It's just terrible.
You know, it's funny because she's thinking to herself.
She hasn't a clue what she's talking about. She has to pretend, you know, everyone knows she's Jewish, so she has to pretend that she cares about the national interest. So we should all care about our servicemen. No, Debbie, you don't give a flying fuck if they were all shot dead tomorrow. You really don't.
No.
First of all, Jews don't join the army. We all know that.
Very few and far between. Very few and far between.
That's correct. That's not our métier. So you don't give a flying fig about any of this. She's just trying to pretend to be an American and wrapping herself in the American flag. But she doesn't care.
God,
but
no.
it is very revealing to me.
There is There is a difference between somebody who takes the AIPAC money because it's for their career. It's another thing that they take it for their career and they believe in the Zionist.
She probably at some level, she probably does believe it. She was raised in one of those homes, which is a very common home.
I was.
Yeah.
But the difference is, and this is, she's in the category of people that are willfully ignorant, right? Like there's people that are actually ignorant. I know people busting ass to just get by. They don't have time to do the research and look into this shit. She is a person of privilege and resources and really could educate herself and know better and doesn't give a crap.
Yeah, I don't think, I listened to you when you talked about Sheryl Sandberg. You really, you can't educate them. They have a scale of values for many reasons, some of which are understandable, some of which are despicable. They believe that Jews are superior. They're Jewish supremacists. They believe that, number one, Jews should be in charge because they're smart. It's just a fact, they're smart. And number two, that Jews shouldn't be held to the same standards as everybody else. They're Platonists. They believe there should be rule by the philosopher kings, and they also believe all those philosopher kings are Jewish. Now, there are good and bad reasons. I should say there are understandable and there are despicable reasons for that. The despicable reasons is this inculcation of the chosen people, this belief that Jews are special, a distortion of the actual religious belief, but that distorted belief has been internalized. And secondly, and you can't get around it, it's just a fact, Jews enjoy spectacular, outsized secular success in the modern world. When we were growing up, it was a point of pride of Jews to be able to say all the founding principles of the modern world, of modernity, Freud, Einstein, Marx, they were all Jewish. Then you go look at the Nobel laureates. You know, Jews represent about 0.00001% of the world's population. 20% of the Nobel laureates are Jewish. And even, you know, you take Harvard, Jews represent 2% of the American population. Harvard in its heyday in the 60s and 70s, it was 25% Jewish. So that goes to people's heads. You know, you get giddy with that, with those facts, and they are facts. You get giddy with it. So you can't really educate them because their fundamental premise is Jews are better. And then they point to you all the evidence. You know, you take somebody like Sheryl Sandberg, who I understand you knew from your hometown, and you described her in a way which I thought sounded accurate. You said two things about her. Number one, very smart. Number two, she earned every bit of her success. She was a grind, as we would call it.
Yeah.
And I knew that type because, you know, Charles Schumer, the current Senate Majority Leader, now known as Chuck, he went to my high school. Utterly brilliant guy, no question about it. Was in a class all his own. And when you read his last book on, you know, anti-Semitism in America, you could see, even though he went to Harvard Law School, he is was the Senate Majority Leader, now the Senate Minority Leader. You could see that Charles Schumer, you may take Charles Schumer out of the ghetto, or in this case, it's the shtetl.
I was going to say the shtetl.
You may take Charles Schumer out of the shtetl, but you can't take the shtetl out of Charles Schumer. When you read the book, it's a very, very tiny universe. It's very striking to me. I felt like when I was reading the book, I felt like I was reading a book by a 90-year-old Jew. He's 76 or something, but his whole mentality, it's the shtetl.
Yeah.
And they are totally convinced of, when you listen, when Schumer, whenever he did interviews for the book, in the past couple of months, or if you read it over and over again, you know what he says is his biggest achievement? He is the highest ranking elected Jew in American history. And he keeps repeating it and repeating it. Go look at his interview on The View. All he cares about, I am the highest ranking elected Jew in American history. So with people with that mentality, look, you knew Sheryl Sandberg. You said she was very bright. That sounded right to me. And he went to Harvard. She was the top student in her class in economics. In her economics class, she was named the top student. So Sheryl Sandberg knows about basic principles of evidence.
Exactly.
That you can't have that academic pedigree and not understand the basic rules of evidence. It's not possible. And there was no evidence. I'm not dogmatic on these issues. I go where the evidence points me. Amnesty International and the UN Commission of Inquiry. What was it? Amnesty? No, Human Rights Watch and the UN Commission of Inquiry, led by Navi Pillay. They said, both of them put out exhaustive reports devastating against Hamas, both of them. But both of them said, we could not confirm that rape occurred on October 7th. We can't. Now, believe me, if they could, they would have.
Of course.
They were desperately trying to create balance between Hamas and Israel. But
Debbie still does it.
Excuse me?
Debbie still does it.
Yeah, she still does. She still goes with the rape narrative.
Yeah, well, but so did Debbie is an idiot. But Sheryl Sandberg is very smart.
Exactly.
And she put her whole career on the line. She said this was the most important thing I've ever done in my life. She made a Leni Riefenstahl style propaganda film. So because you can't convince them. They walk in to any situation, they walk in assuming Jews are better. She studied under Larry Summers, who was a former president of Harvard, Harvard economist. And these people, they see anti-Semitism everywhere. Summers, that's the type he was. They see anti-Semitism everywhere. Unless, my mother used to say, when Jews look in the mirror, they will refuse to see a blemish. They will refuse to see a blemish.
I think it's also the victim card. With Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she loves to use it as the victim card. I mean, she does that with everything. But some people, I do think, legitimately believe it. And some people know better and just say it. Some people are more fearful.
Let's finish what this ghoul has to say.
This action brings Iran back to the table, where
we bomb them and then they come back to the table.
Just let her finish so she can go away.
In diplomacy, I support protecting the national security interests of the United States of America. What I certainly believe is that there should not
be the U.S. And when she refers to bringing Iran back to the table, she's of course referring to the Mahjong table.
And it's just so absurd when we know that Iran is still, they never stopped wanting to negotiate it. We pulled out of the agreement. Trump pulled out of the agreement. And then we just pretended to be negotiating with them and then killed their lead negotiator. So when you say that Iran needs to come back to the table,
it was perfectly obvious. It was perfectly obvious from day one what was going to happen. You know the cliche, every crisis is also an opportunity. So if you go back to 9/11 and you read the accounts of the ruling elite, the books by and about Cheney, Rumsfeld, Bush, and the whole crowd, yes, obviously they were emotionally shattered by what happened on 9/11, but that lasts about 5 minutes, and then they regain their lucidity. And then the first question is, what can we get out of it? And if you read the accounts, immediately they start scouring the globe. What country are we going to attack? What country are we going to attack? Every crisis for the ruling elites is an opportunity. So the first opportunity for Mr. Netanyahu was obviously to, for once and for all, solve the Gaza question. There aren't going to be any more operations. This was going to be the final solution to Gaza. Then the second opportunity, when that one was on the verge of being completed, was solving the Hezbollah question, because the Hezbollah attacks in northern Israel gave them the pretext to solve the Hezbollah question. And then, of course, and I wrote about it because it was perfectly obvious, the next opportunity to solve the Iran question. They understood that this was, I know this sounds crude, but people in power are crude. They saw 7 October as the chance of a lifetime, that they can finally solve the Iran question. They have the pretext, they have the excuse. And so Netanyahu went after it with a fervor. And then I'm not sure what Biden would have done if he were beseeched to attack Iran. It's possible he would have said no. It's possible. It's also quite possible, I believe, that he would have said yes. But with Netanyahu, it had nothing to do with the facts. There is evidence, I have no reason to doubt it, that Iran may have engaged in a little bit of cheating with the IAEA. I read the report. Probably there was a little bit of cheating going on. IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, said that they had enriched more uranium at 60% than they were allowed to, that they had destroyed some evidence. Yeah, I suppose that's true. But there seems to be, as far as I can see, a consensus, including by the IAEA and by the national intelligence in the US, Iran had not decided to make a bomb. There was just no evidence of that. No evidence that they had decided to make a bomb. And but Netanyahu wasn't going to let the opportunity pass. It's very hard, to read Trump's mind. It's like reading tea leaves, trying to read his mind. My guess is Trump had drawn a line in the sand. The line in the sand said, you can't enrich any new uranium on your territory. He made that red line. And when he saw he couldn't claim victory because Iran said no, every other country can enrich uranium on its territory, we're going to do it also. So he decided to launch the attack. But he had a problem, which everybody has been talking about, a restive base that didn't want a war with another Middle East war. And so he claimed victory. We obliterated Iran's nuclear capacity, nuclear weapons capacity. Apparently he didn't. And then he had to be responsive to his base. So today, you don't know. I guess 2 hours ago, he announced that everybody had agreed to a ceasefire. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Well, let's play what the commander in chief had to say.
Another one.
Incredible,
Another
tremendous effort.
Time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan.
Well, he had to practice that quite a few times.
But we already now all know that they had already moved anything that was of value in terms of their enrichment elsewhere, and that we did nothing. And it's just, and can I also say that I loathe when they say the Iranian regime? It's not a regime anymore.
It's a republic.
Regime. It's just so.
Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
Oh my God.
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
And you know, the very next day they started to backpedal and say, well, we don't really quite know. I have to say, as you guys probably know, I am not woke. I'm not woke.
That's okay. That's okay. We're good.
Even as a non-woke person, I am tired of seeing white men. I just these 4 white men. I'm just.
It's old. It's just, and it's not working well. Like maybe we should try something else.
It's not like I would prefer Joy Reid to be there instead of Marco, whatever his name is.
Little Marco.
Little Marco.
Man, he looks so damn short. Well, he is short, but like in that spot, he looks like he's standing behind Hegseth. My God.
Oh, it's
bad job. Bad job.
So,
totally terrible job. All right, let's see what else the Donald has to say.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace.
The bully of the Middle East is Israel, and the greatest sponsor of terror who acts on it is Israel. Just one.
I would say us, but okay.
One and the same.
If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating
the cats.
Bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu
for Brett. I totally bumped his balls as spectacular as I've ever done before, and I pulled the chair out for him as well. Don't forget that.
So disgusting.
We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the.
So again, there's a slip of tongue, which is why people don't want Trump in power, like the Ackmans of the world. Why? Because Trump doesn't say we're protecting the United States. It's we're protecting Israel.
He's the most honest liar ever.
Honest liar.
I don't think he gives a darn about Israel.
No. I don't think he cares about anything but himself.
Everything is a means to an end with the Donald, pure and simple.
The Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity.
Let's see how you do when you can't get your oil. Let's see how you do when gas is like at $13 a gallon.
Why is Mr. J.D. Vance wearing a blue tie?
That's a good question.
Yeah, interesting. Well,
That's a good question.
all I know is that as a lifetime New Yorker, you can appreciate the channeling of P.T. Barnum, because there is no question that that is what his entire shtick is essentially. That's what it is.
I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general,
Really
and
great
all of
guy.
the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There's
This is so ridiculous.
It's a stand-up comedy routine.
First of all, can I just say, like, Iran's been preparing for this for 20 years. They know this is so, we're going to have our asses handed to us in so many ways that it's just.
I know you're going to want to go in on this, so let's finish this
Okay.
out. One more important thing to say.
never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God
bless Israel. God bless Israel.
God bless America. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was entertaining.
That was so entertaining.
I wasn't entertained.
You weren't entertained? It's just so
Are
pathetic.
you not entertained?
No.
God bless
I
Israel.
have to tell you, I had in my last class, I taught 3 students who did Trump imitations. And I am now, I think, Trump imitation out. But you're okay. You do a good one.
Don't.
You're a decent guy. I heard you're a smarty, but you're not as smart as me. Listen, you may be a professor, but I got into the Wharton School of Business at UPenn. Have you heard of that place? It's a really great place.
Just the amount of hyperbole, the amount of he's just such a snake oil salesman. And it's just so funny because they talk as if we don't have the other accurate information. That's what I find so interesting. Like, we know that that's not what happened.
I find it a curiosity how many people are actually persuaded. It's hard for me to tell. He has a way of tapping into popular sentiment, but it's so hard to believe that people would take this boasting seriously. I don't know.
Looks like a Saturday Night Live skit.
Oh, it's going to get parodied, as it should. As it should.
I'm going to have to leave you.
That's okay. Thank you for being here.
I didn't have dinner yet, and I'm determined to eat dinner today.
Yes, go eat.
Professor, before you go, what's your gut telling you? What's your prediction for tomorrow?
Well, I think it's important to bear in mind that tomorrow is only one hurdle. If he wins the Democratic primary, there's going to be, in my opinion, based on history, there was a very popular, very decent guy. His name was Vito Marcantonio, and he was from East Harlem. He was very close to the Communist Party. He was a candidate on what was called the American Labor Party. This was after World War II. And when the vote came down on the Korean War, Mark, as he was called, Vito Marcantonio, he was the only one in the House and Senate who voted against involvement in the Korean War. And at that point, all the screws were turned to destroy him. So even though he was very popular in East Harlem, his district, they formed what was called a fusion candidate. The Republican and Democratic Party joined together to stop Mark Antonio after he voted against the Korean War. And my guess is there's going to be a fusion candidate. If Mamdani wins, the Democratic and Republican parties will create a fusion candidate to stop him. And that will be very hard to defeat, because if the Democratic Party leadership and the Republicans can agree on a candidate, it'll be very hard to win. So I think there'll be a fusion candidate against Mamdani in November. So that's another hurdle. And then there's the third hurdle. If he gets elected, they're going to do everything they can to make sure it's a disaster. So you learn your lesson.
Yeah. Hence why electoral politics is not really the solution.
It's not. Look, remember, I don't want to get into a long discussion about this now because time doesn't allow. But Bernie Sanders, the campaign, had two sides to it. There was the electoral side, because each of his insurgencies coincide with the presidential cycle. But on the other hand, you have to remember, Bernie kept talking about our revolution. And he kept saying, people ask the same question of him over and over again. Bernie, if you're elected, how are you going to get your platform through? Everybody.
What we're going to do is we're going to rally all the people around the country behind our movement, and we are going to go forward with a political revolution. That's what we need to do. And Norman, I appreciate you asking that question.
You know what? You're very good. That was actually very impressive.
Yeah, he's good. He's got a few.
No, it's very good. But the point is, Bernie himself realized that electoral politics in and of itself is not going to get you where you want to go. It'll get you somewhere.
Yeah.
But then you need masses of people in the street.
Exactly.
And the problem with Bernie was, I don't fault him really. He had his limitations like any other human being. He had been a politician. He was the gadfly in Congress. He didn't have it in him, the revolution. He spoke about it. But then he had a fateful choice. The fateful choice was, you can whisper in Biden's left ear, or you can call on masses of people to come to Washington in order to get your program through. You had the choice. He didn't see himself being a revolutionary leader. He chose the role of whispering in Biden's ear. And he understood. He said, I'm bringing millions of people to Washington, which he could have. There was the enthusiasm at that point. He understood Biden would say, get the hell out of here. That's not the way we do politics in Washington. So he knew he had to make a choice. And in my opinion, I guess I assume yours also, he made the wrong choice, because there's only so far you're going to get with whispering in Biden's ear.
Agreed.
Parts of the Build Back Better weren't bad. They weren't bad, but it was very limited. It was very limited. So I don't think it's right to see electoral politics versus mass politics or non-electoral politics. I think you have to see them in relationship to each other. Electoral politics without a mass movement, the amount you can actually get through is very limited. On the other hand, in democratic societies, the electoral cycle in large part determines a lot of politics. You can't get around it. Of course, you have to build a movement between the various presidential campaigns. But it is true that the electoral cycle energizes people. And it is a good indication of your strength. I mean, the most important aspect of the Bernie Sanders campaign, by far the most important aspect, he demonstrated that a class-based campaign can mobilize masses of people. He showed that a class platform can work in our country. And that's an extremely important realization that it can work. And now it's working again with Mamdani. You know, his whole campaign is based on one word: affordability. He's saying this city has become unaffordable for probably 80%. If you're in IT, if you're in finance, you're doing fine.
Sure.
And of course, the professions, if you're a doctor or lawyer, even the medical industry in general, you're doing fine. But if you're not in that, then you're out.
If you work on Park Avenue, you're doing fine. And if you don't, chances are you're struggling like everybody else.
Young people nowadays, it's very rare. You know, you folks are obviously of a totally different generation than mine. In my generation, a job meant one thing. It meant 40 hours a week, 5 days a week. It meant enough to purchase a home. It meant college education free. College education was free. City University was free. State University was free. It wasn't communism for sure, but it did guarantee a decent standard of living for most people. There was a group of people, they were immortalized in a book by Michael Harrington called The Other America. That was the title of his book. And the Other America referred to those who didn't share in the American dream. Appalachia, African Americans. But for about the biggest difference between your generation and mine is, in my generation, the system worked for 80%. It didn't work for 20%. They were the other America, 20%. And your generation, the system works for 20%, and it doesn't work for 80%. Your generation, you very rarely, when I talk about a job, 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, pension, and so forth. When I meet a lot of young people, your generation and younger, you very rarely meet a person who has a job like that anymore.
I love how you think Peter and I are the same generation. That always pleases me. It's so pleasing to me. He and I are not the same generation.
Well, you're Sheryl Sandberg's generation, so you'd be
right. I'm Gen X. He's millennial. He's that worthless generation. You know, Gen X, we're the victims here. We're the victims of the boomers.
I was born in '83, and the one thing I could say from my youth is that we were the last decade, or the last generation, if you will, that didn't grow up with one of these things in our hands.
Yeah.
And the effects that this is going to have, whether it's on cognitive development, interpersonal relationships.
And you're right now interviewing someone who, except for probably somebody in inner or outer Mongolia, is the only person left without an iPhone. I never got one.
I don't have an iPhone. I'm Android.
I don't have Android. I don't have iPhone. I don't have any of that.
You carry a brick? You carry one of those old bricks that we used to keep
I don't
in the
carry anything.
The only New Yorker that we have spoken to that had more books behind him than you do was Oliver Stone. And I guarantee you.
That to me is a very sad comparison, but I'm not going to go there.
Don't. It's all presentation. Thank you so much. Norman's got to go eat. He's going to get low blood sugar. It's not good.
Well, we don't need that, but what we do need is more books and less social media. So with that said, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for all you do, and we will definitely speak again soon.
Thank you, Norman.
Good luck.
Bye-bye. Great man. Great conversation.
I love that he thinks we're the same generation. That pleases me to no end.
So what he's basically saying is he thinks I'm old, but that's okay. I'll take it. He thinks I'm funny too. Funny how? Like I'm a clown, like I'm here to amuse you?
Yeah, you're here to amuse me. You do. I mean, look, your impressions are good. Everyone always says that. We had a bunch of super chats come through, but
remember, patreon.com/generation. Excuse, you know what? That's my fault. I needed to check if there was one thing that I missed. So I missed it.
Yes, that's okay.
We're pretty good about getting it all up to date.
I don't know how far back you've done super chats, but
I know where to go.
But you know what I'm talking about? Are you aware of what I'm talking about? Okay.
Yes, I am aware. Patreon.com/revolutionary change. For as little as $5 a month, you can become a supporter of our small but mighty and growing channel.
We're growing.
Yes,
like a fungus, we're growing.
We are
growing on you.
Well, so far this evening, we have already gotten from this live stream an additional 100+ subscribers. So, guys,
thank you.
That's what it's all about. It's all about the numbers. It's all about how do we continue to grow. And with you guys being here and enjoying these conversations, remember, it isn't necessarily transforming politics into service, but it's
I'm done with that shit.
But it is a form of service in which we're trying to inform as many people. And I agree with what Norman said. Electoral politics only matters if you have a movement behind you that has teeth. If you don't, then it doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter. How about that? And that's from your generation. Even I know what you're talking about.
Okay. But, Bill Murray is coming here in December.
That's right. Are you planning to go?
Well, I would, if you wanted to come down, I would go.
I would go see him. Why not?
Yeah. I thought that would be kind of up your.
You just know that I guarantee you his shtick is probably engaging with the audience. Like, and he was.
I just really like him.
What was the name of the lounge singer? What was his name?
I don't know. Why would you think I would know lounge singer? Do I look like I work in Vegas?
S. Kolachuk, thank you so much for the 2 Canadian A. I like the word hat. Interesting.
What is that from? He's from something.
Maybe.
It's from something.
Jim Talib, thank you for the $2 super sticker. I believe that's your first contribution to our show.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for being here. S. Kolachuk with the 2 Canadian A again. Norman Finkelstein is one of my heroes. I think he is a hero to anybody.
It's entertaining to watch him smile and get a little bit like laugh because he's usually very serious. You know, he's a very serious person, which, I dig. But it was kind of cool to watch him think that the Trump thing was as funny as I did.
It was entertaining. His jazz hands.
That's the thing I was talking about.
$10. Can we?
It's inappropriate. And this is someone who
I didn't even see it. I'm sorry. I didn't even see it. Yeah, seriously. Thank you for the $10, but along.
Don't be here and harass people. It's not cool. We don't need that shit.
The progressive lefty with the $6.99 Canadian A. Norm, the world is a better place because you are in it.
That's
Thank
so
you
nice.
for all you do. And the world is a better place because Brett Boyle is our mod. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, it's
Roger Meadows, thank you for the $2. Name change? Yes. We're
rebranding.
What do you think? I think it's pretty good.
It's needed.
Joanne Keene with the $20 super chat. Preach. I assume you mean Professor Finkelstein. And we thank you for your support. It means a lot. Roger Meadows with the $5. Cuomo, if you were disappointed by AOC, expect the same from Z. Cuomo has older Black support, not 18 to 35, who don't vote, and Z don't bother to go get them in the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queensboro. Well, I don't know if I agree with you, Roger. We'll see what happens. Bottom line, as bad as Cuomo is, I don't think Zohran would be anywhere near as bad. To project that is just giving up altogether on electoral politics, which many people have, and I understand that. But I want to give Zohran the benefit of the doubt. I think he's done a great job. Roger Meadows again with the $5. New York City mayor has no independent sovereignty of governance due to completely enveloping more than one county. They must get New York State permission on major decisions.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll be interesting to see.
Every county and municipality is sort of different in how they work. Like, for example, here in Broward County, we don't have a sitting mayor that is elected independent, right? It's somebody rotates around the county commission. So, just different places have different things, and the way that their charters and whatever are written, they have different powers. Some cities have a city manager that does really more of the stuff than a mayor, and the mayor is more like the monarch. So it just really depends on the charter.
Joanne Kane, thank you so much for the $10. Thanks for being so irreverent and worth reverence. Dr. Finkelstein, mad respect, good sir. We definitely agree. One of our OGs, Teresa, thank you so much.
Thank you, Teresa.
Sticker. And of course, one of our amazing OGs, Chip, with the $5 super sticker.
Definitely.
Roger Meadows coming back with the $2. Call your show Gen X. Me, you, and Jenk, 1970. Jen, you're not 1970.
I'm 71.
Just off by one, but close enough. Pedro Ordonez with the $5. Thank you so much. Great show, people. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you for supporting our small but mighty and growing channel. And Teresa must love us a lot because she came back with another $10 super sticker.
Thank you.
You guys have really made a difference. We're very appreciative of you all being here tonight. I'm going to leave you guys with one final thought since you're all in the mood for some wonderful impressions.
Right. So, okay, wait, we just sort of discussed like doing like a final segment. Is this what you want to do? Or do you have something else you want to show?
No, this is definitely the final segment for sure. But I think I want to say that it definitely covers so much of what's wrong with politics because it's going to cover two parts, and I'll explain. But presented without comment. Oh, let me pull this out first. There we go. All right, here we go.
Clinton turned the Democratic Party into the Republican Party, whether it was the omnibus crime bill, which militarized police and doubled the prison population, 3 strikes you're outlaws, the NAFTA, which was the greatest betrayal of the working class, the ripping down the firewalls between investment and commercial banks, that's Glass-Steagall. Canada did not have a banking crisis because those firewalls were left in place, or deregulating the FCC. And he and a congressman named Tony Coelho out of California understood that if they did corporate bidding, they get corporate money.
So, oh, good God, here he is.
Jen, it is so great to finally see that you are back from your wonderful trip overseas. I just wanted to come on here and let you all know that I endorsed Andrew Cuomo to become the next mayor of New York City because I have made it very clear that Clintonism is here to stay now and forever, and we will elect Andrew Cuomo, my buddy, my pal, I got to get away from these ladies because I'm getting myself into a lot of trouble, Cuomo. So if any of y'all are thinking of going out and supporting that Zohran guy tomorrow, that's all sweet and everything, but it's not going to go very far. In fact, you're probably going to lose, not necessarily tomorrow, but you'll certainly lose in November if for whatever reason he manages to slip through, like Slick Willie slipping through. In this case, Cuomo runs as an independent, Adams runs as an independent. That other guy, Silva, he'll siphon off some votes and whatnot. But that Zohran guy, you're all getting your hopes up for nothing. Jen's right. Stay away from electoral politics. It's not smart business. You're just delaying the inevitable. Ain't that right, Jen? Don't you want to?
I think you're gross and should be in prison. And and you should talk about Epstein's Island. That's what I think you should do.
Listen, if you know anything about that island, it has spectacular food. It has spectacular views. It has spectacular girls. I mean, women. But I had my fun. You cannot blame me for enjoying myself. Have you seen who I've been married to for the past 50 years? Do you have any sympathy whatsoever for the hardship that I've had to deal with being married to Hillary? I mean, come on. A little sympathy, Jen. Just
no, you're gross. Go away.
I'm not going away. I am here like a fungus. I stay here forever. And I am not leaving unless I'm in a box. And it'll be a beautiful box. I hope you understand. Jen, who you want to see win tomorrow? You want that Zohran guy to win? Is that what you want?
I do. He's a cutie poo.
No, he's not as handsome as I am, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
He's extremely confident and smart and appealing, and yet no.
Oh, listen,
you are so far from appealing.
Oh, I am very appealing. I mean, if I have to remind people exactly why I'm appealing
to a 20-year-old fat intern, yeah, I get that.
Well, I'm also appealing to a lot of wealthy Upper East Side donors. That's why I'm endorsing Andrew Cuomo for mayor tomorrow.
God, that's so gross. Did you actually?
I most certainly did. And that just like me? That is exactly what I did.
Oh.
I could not help myself. I had to do it. It was absolutely necessary. I mean, this guy Zohran, he's getting a little too big for his britches. So I had to come in. I had to, Jen. I had no choice.
You and Obama, really? Both of you, just go away.
No.
Go away.
No.
And you take your wife with you. His wife, I'm indifferent to, but she's, all of you go away.
I'll make a promise with you. I will go away as soon as Hillary goes away. That's my promise. If you want me to go away, and I will stay away, and I promise you I will, you got to get rid of Hillary. I have tried 9 ways to Sunday to do that, and for whatever reason, she just simply cannot go away.
I want all of you to go away. I'm
going to try. But remember, I did NAFTA. I did normal trade relations with China. I did the crime bill. I did I removed Glass-Steagall, and I did the Telecom Act. So if y'all want to know why your life sucks so bad, you can just blame me.
And I just inhaled. Go away.
Oh, I can smell it from here, Jen. Have a good night. Bye.
He's so gross. But of course he had to come out and say something. Seriously, him and Obama. Go away.
Well, what weight does he actually think that his endorsement has at this point, I think, is the funny part. Like, are people getting excited? It's a dying industry. I understand that. And I believe that change will eventually happen. That's what it was supposed to be. That's the intention.
He is a train wreck.
It's supposed to be,
But he is. He's just like, so disgusted.
Yeah. He actually, apparently he's not sounding too good. And apparently he was doing some type of panel of some kind the other day. And he was speaking very candidly about Netanyahu, which I thought was interesting. What we're hoping as part of revolutionary change, and it should not be lost on anybody, the color scheme that we chose. If we can accomplish one thing, thank you, Truth Bearer. I guess I'll take that as a compliment. If we can, in a small way, make a difference in creating momentum towards the severing of the stranglehold that is the Israel lobby over our country, then I think some healing could actually happen. And I do believe that there is a real movement happening right now in this country that has nothing to do with the red-blue divide.
Can I give a shout out to someone before I forget? And I want to point this out. Kay Biscaro, don't know if you watch the Punch Up Pod, but while we have this many viewers, guys, on Sunday and Wednesday evenings, we're not on, and it's always fun over at the Punch Up Pod, and they actually play fun games and stuff, and they roll a wheel and you smoke a bowl and everybody gets along. It's a good place. So, check them out on Sundays and Wednesdays. Sorry, I had to do that. Oh, for God's sake. So Punch Up Pod. Anywho.
Ozma, great to see you. Thank you so much for the $9.99. Hi, guys. Couldn't catch all of Professor Finkelstein because had to drive. We'll catch up with you later. Thank you for having him on. Thank you for being
Yeah,
here.
don't be texting and driving or super chatting and driving.
Either way, thank you very much. MTG Paradise, thank you for the $5. Thank you guys for being such strong supporters of Palestine and pushing for a just U.S. and world.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to do red and black. And Peter's like, okay, we can't have that sort of threatening of a name and be red and black. We have to lighten it up. And then as soon as he said that, he's like, we should just do green and it'll be, you know, it'll be Palestine colors and it'll just be, and it's true. It's good. The green is the good accent, you know, but yeah, it is an homage to Palestine.
And I also think the white accents very well. Remember, if you look on our social media, you'll see I did it as sort of like, well, not like a rainbow, but you know, we have a few different variations with a white canvas, a green canvas, a black canvas.
Yeah, it comes in a few ways. And this is our first show, our first revolutionary change. So it'll also, you know, we'll adapt certain things that we like in terms of that. I mean, I just put this together for today in terms of the background with it, but yeah, I'm not married to it by any change, you know.
Teresa, again, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. You guys have been great. We've had 28 super chats tonight. Chip, thank you for the $2. I lost a cousin over my vote for Jill Stein yesterday. Well, your cousin clearly is a very sheltered person who doesn't accept the fact that people are allowed to have different opinions. It is what it is. But times are changing. They really are. I mean, they really are changing now. Like, we're in a very, very unique time, and things are going to continue to evolve.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're hopeful that we appreciate you guys trusting us with our platform to continue to put that message forward. If you join us,
but no. When you get money, I'll send it to you guys. Till then, all I have is strong words of support for both of you. People, I don't want people sending us money if it like that it's not in their best interest to do so. I don't want that. Like, that's not what we're about. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure, honestly, I mean, I appreciate it, but I'm sure that there are other things that you could definitely use or need that if, you know, anyhow. Yeah.
Remember, Jen, you will vote for Mayor Pete in 28 and you will like it. Well, actually, Mayor Pete's going to run for governor of Michigan first. We'll see how that works out. In the meantime, Thursday night, we will have on Terry Heaton and returning crossover podcast friend, Casey Malone. We're going to have another conversation about Christian Zionism and how.
Well, that's what that clip was for. I gave that to you for that.
Well, that's, yeah, the Bible is, yes. So we're holding that. I told Colin to hold that till Thursday.
Okay.
So we'll pull that up on Thursday. We will have Shama Sawant next Monday. And then next Thursday, before the 4th of July, we will have our good friend, Jamal Thomas, who will be coming to us live across the ocean.
Is he in, well, last time I communicated with him, he was in Albania.
Yeah, I think that's where he is now.
Yeah. Yeah, this I have to put. I agree, Chip. Really,
yeah, he's got the personality of a potted plant, and yes,
and note, and I so appreciate that you said potted, because I feel like it so perfectly describes.
Yeah, it does. And yes, Casey, he did carpetbag his way to Michigan.
Yeah, they're trying to set him up for that governor's race because they think that Whitmer is going to be a real contender for 28. She got the crazy eyes.
Yeah, not only that, but one thing you may not have noticed from that video clip with Wasserman Schultz, Whitmer did a video for the Florida Democratic Party event.
I'm not surprised.
Couldn't even show up, but did it that way. One thing I am very grateful to see, especially with everything going on right now, Jamal Thomas's channel has been doing fantastic, tremendous numbers with his live stream. So with that said, Dren, it's great to have you back. It's great to have.
Did you answer Chip about our email?
That's
what I just put up.
We haven't switched it yet. I'll be working on that.
But we will. It will switch. certain things are harder to do than others, but yeah, it's going to switch over. But
We've
right
got
now,
a lot of
that's still
different
us.
emails in there right now, so I don't know how imperative that is. It's not the biggest concern. I would definitely say that most of what we needed to change has been changed.
Yeah.
If you guys are not currently following us, and if you are but need to know of the new change, we are at Revolutionary Change or Revolutionary Change Now on social media. So whether that's Instagram, whether that's TikTok,
Right.
or
but people who are already following it automatically switches over, right? So it's only
I believe so.
Yeah, so it's only for new, because all of my things switched over. But yeah, if you're new, you will
And
find
the
us
links
in
are
new
obviously on the
places.
site as well. So just be on the lookout for that. So with that said, smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that you share. Do all those things that we ask you to do. We appreciate each and every one of you that are here with us on this journey for revolutionary change. We'll see you Thursday, and
Free Palestine.
good night, guys.